The special meeting is called back to order. Will the secretary please note that all board members are present with the exception of Ms. Parra. The first item on the agenda is 3B, motion to adjourn the executive session. Is there a motion to adjourn the executive session and a second?
So move.
Second?
A motion has been made by Ms. Pastor, seconded by Mr. Prescott. On the motion, those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, please indicate by saying nay. The motion carries. The next item is item 3C, motion to instruct the designated representatives of the public body regarding matters discussed in executive session as necessary. Is there a motion to affirm instructions given to representatives of the public body in executive session and a motion?
So move.
Second?
A motion has been made by Ms. Pastor, seconded by Mr. Prescott. Is there any discussion? On the motion, those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, please indicate by saying nay. The motion carries. The next item is item 3D, motion to adjourn the special meeting. Is there a motion to adjourn the special meeting and a second?
So move.
A motion has been made by Ms. Pastor, seconded by Mr. Prescott. On the motion, those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, please indicate by saying nay. The motion carries. We are adjourned. The regular meeting is called to order. Will the secretary please note that all board members are present with the exception of Ms. Parra. Please note that today's meeting is being live screened. And also please note that we have Spanish interpreting services available in the back of the room.
Buenas noches a todos. Si necesita interpretación en español, por favor, mirar a Oel, que se encuentra atrás del cuarto.
Please stand as Ms. Pastor leads us in the Pledge of Allegiance and remain standing for a moment of silence. To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. The first item on the agenda is 1D Land Acknowledgement Statement. Dr. Kestner.
President Alston and members of the board and Phoenix Union community, last month we had an opportunity to, for the first time in our district's history, adopt a land acknowledgement statement. We had an incredible ceremony. I want to thank everyone involved last month. Starting in January, the land acknowledgement statement will be read much like the Pledge of Allegiance is at the beginning of every meeting. And so item 1C will always be pledged, followed by a moment of silence. And item 1D will be the land acknowledgement statement, which will be read by a board member just as we typically do with Pledge of Allegiance. What we thought we would do tonight is share a brief video. The video has two parts, although they run right next to each other. First, we want to make sure as a district, as executive team members, leaders, and governing board, that we have the correct pronunciation as we read land acknowledgement. As we met with our Native American brothers and sisters and said, hey, one of the most important things is once you adopt, it's really important that you honor our tribal community by saying our tribal names absolutely correctly. And so we're going to share a video with board members so we can make sure that we are pronouncing our tribal communities exactly as they deserve to be and need to be. And that will start in January. And then tonight, we will also share with you the land acknowledgement, the video land acknowledgement that was shared last month as this month's official land acknowledgement statement. So tonight, here's a video with pronunciations that we'll send to the board, as well as the official land acknowledgement statement.
Donna Autumn. Donna Autumn.
Donna Autumn, Akimuratum, 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 Ankh Akimuratum, Ankh Akimuratum, Ankh Akimuratum, Akchin, Akchin. The Phoenix Union High School District is responsible for and committed to creating educational environments that prioritize the achievements of Native American students. We are committed to making their cultural identity visible by acknowledging that our school district resides upon the ancestral lands of the original caretakers, the Huhukam, ancestors of the Akamaratum, Ankh Akamaratum, Danaatum, and the Yakchin. These sovereign nations are presently known as the Hill River Indian Community, Salt River Pima Maricopa Indian Community, Danaatum Nation, and the Akchin Indian Community. This formal acknowledgement is dedicated to the 22 sovereign nations of Arizona. PXU understands the importance of providing reparations through truth-telling. We recognize the historical injustices not traditionally taught in the classroom and are committed to practices prioritizing Native American knowledge, history, representation, and healing. We commit with an open mind to always respect the land, its histories, and its ancestors.
And again, President Alston and Governing Board and Community, that again will be read verbally by a board member. And again, just want to do two final thank yous. One, thank you to the Governing Board who walked alongside us and continued to impress upon us and the broader community the urgency to adopt land acknowledgement. And then want to thank the Andrade, Tony Camp, Karen Cardenas, and everyone involved in the land acknowledgement process to get us to where we're at today. So thank you to everyone, and I'll turn it back to you, President Alston.
Thank you. Trevor G. Brown High School has a long history of supporting its students through the arts. They are proud to continue encouraging their students to explore the world through the art and through artwork and creation. They are excited to offer fine arts as part of the career pathways for their new academy model. The featured artworks represented are a combination of graphic design classes, digital photography, drawing and painting, explorations in art and ceramics. They encourage students to use the arts as a means of self-expression, relaxation, stress relief, and personal exploration. They believe that while not all students are going to become artists, that shouldn't stop them from exploring art and finding connections to their daily lives and future aspirations. Art is in everything. The next item on the agenda is 2A, recognitions and accomplishments. Tonight, we will celebrate our 3 outgoing board members and briefly recognize our 3 new incoming board members. Dr. Kestner.
Excellent. President Alston, members of the board and Phoenix Union community, tonight is a very bittersweet night. Bitter in that we are saying goodbye to 3 incredibly dedicated and rooted board members in Phoenix Union. But it's a sweet night because we get to briefly introduce 3 new board members. Actually, 2 are here personally who are also deeply rooted and passionate about Phoenix Union, and we'll talk about our 3 incoming board members in a moment. But tonight, as you see on the screen, is the last board meeting for Stanford Prescott, Vice Mayor Pastor, and Supervisor Gallardo. Tonight, we're going to go in alphabetical order, so we'll recognize Steve Gallardo first, Vice Mayor Pastor, and then Stanford Prescott. And what we're going to do tonight, I'm going to highlight a couple of things. One, last month, we caught heck about the cornholes, and so we have a cornhole for boards for all of the board over there. And so for the outgoing board members, you each get a cornhole set that we will deliver to your car tonight. If it doesn't fit in your car, we will deliver those another time. And they are schools within your ward, and again, these are made by our students and designed by our students. So you get a cornhole set. We also have, and the bean bags that go along with them. You also have a gift. If one of you has it close, you can hold it. You don't necessarily have to open it up. So every time a governing board member is leaving, they get their parking sign and they get their nameplate, and so that's in there, as well as a special gift inside for the outgoing board members. And then we also have plaques, which I will show you here in a little bit. And so just so the community knows, and I'll reiterate for the board, our plan tonight for recognitions is that I'll share just a brief couple of words, introduce the plaque. President, as the presiding officer, will share words. Any board member that wants to share anything about the particular board member we're talking about, you can share. And then the board member that's leaving gets last word and can share whatever that you care to share. So that's the process for tonight. And but before we get there, we did create a video to say goodbye to board members. And so here's our video. Supervisor Gallardo, thank you for all that you have done for Phoenix Union for the last 4 years during this term of service. We know that you served a previous 4 years. You came on this board at the perfect time with your knowledge, your wisdom, your connections at the county as we navigated COVID. You have made us stronger, and as an alumni of Trevor Brown, you make us even prouder. Trevor forever, thank you for your service.
Supervisor Gallardo, it has been an honor to serve with you and learn from you. Thank you for being one of Phoenix Union's biggest supporters and most passionate advocates. I am so proud of what we accomplished for our students, staff, and community with you in this board. It has been a great lesson to watch you provide so many resources for our families and communities. I wish you only the best in the future.
Mr. Gallardo, it has been such a pleasure working with you over these last several years. I want to thank you for your service to Phoenix Union students, our families, and our community. I wish you luck in your future endeavors and continued service to our community. This is not goodbye. I know our paths will cross again and again. I do want you to know that we are better because of your service to Phoenix Union, and just let you know that you will truly be missed. So thank you, my friend, and we'll see you soon.
Hi, Steve. I want to send you a greeting to let you know how sad we are to see you leave the board. You have been an outstanding board member and added so much to this community on behalf of our faculty, our staff, our students, and our families. You are truly a person who cares for and loves kids and wants the best for them. Thank you so much for your service, and I hope you will reconsider and decide to run once again. It's never too late. Thank you, Steve, for your service. Hope to see you back on this board very soon. Thank you.
Vice Mayor Pastor, I want to thank you for your incredible service to Phoenix Union. You've volunteered 12 years of your life, not just on the evenings, but to advocate for Phoenix Union students, and Phoenix Union's community during the day, on the weekend, and even in your role at the community college and at the city. Thank you for everything that you have done and will continue to do for our students.
Vice Mayor, thank you so much for your service to Phoenix Union. I think it was 12 years ago that I stood for the first time at the podium, and I knew right away from your questions that you had a passion and commitment for our students and to our community. And you've proven that that is definitely true. Thanks again for your service, and wish you the very best.
Vice Mayor, Board Member Pastor, I can't imagine this place without you. A board meeting, a graduation, you've always been here, advocating for what's right for our students, our staff, our families, and our community. So on behalf of all of executive team, and really all of Phoenix Union and the greater Phoenix Union community, thank you so much for your years of service.
Hey Laura, I just want to thank you so much for your service to the Phoenix Union High School District. You've been an incredible board member, and I will miss serving alongside you. Thank you for always fighting the good fight and asking the tough questions for our community, our kids, and our families. good luck and continue to serve the city of Phoenix. Thank you.
Hello, Vice Mayor Pastor. Thank you for being part of the Franklin family. Thank you for your leadership, your advocacy, and your commitment. And most importantly, thank you for being a champion for all students, all families, and all communities. You will be dearly missed at Franklin's graduation. In fact, we made you an honorary Franklin graduate. We cannot do what we do without champions like you supporting us. Here's wishing you the very best in all of your future endeavors. Never forget us, and please stop by at Franklin to say hello.
Stanford Prescott, thank you for all you have done for the Phoenix Union community. You have brought incredible ideas to the boardroom and ultimately to Phoenix Union, from participatory budgeting to diversity camps to ensuring that the voices of all of our students and families are heard. You make us proud as an alumni. You continue to make us proud in the community. Go Jaguars.
Hello, Board Member Prescott. On behalf of the Student and Family Services Division, I want to thank you for the 8 years of service that you've given to our Phoenix Union Governing Board. You will be missed, and as a resident of Ward 2, I just want to say that when I'm at a game at the academies at South Mountain and I hear "Go Jaguars," I'll know that you continuing to support our community. Best of luck in everything you do in the future, and thank you.
Hello, Governing Board Member Prescott. It is my honor to give this farewell speech on this video today. I want to thank you, Mr. Prescott, for your 8 years of amazing service, not only in Ward 2, but to the entire community of Phoenix Union. You will certainly be missed, but definitely not forgotten.
Stanford, from the Academies of South Mountain and the South Mountain community, we want to say thank you for 8 years of service to Phoenix Union, and may you have continued success in your future endeavors, from one alumni to another, and always being an advocate for kids. We just want to say thank you once again.
Congratulations, Member Prescott. Stanford, it's been such a privilege and an honor to serve with you. We joined the Phoenix Union Board at the same time in spring of 2015. So thank you for your 8 years of service. Congratulations, and again, really appreciate being on this board with you.
And as always, thank you to our marketing team and our tech team for your help with our audiovisual. So tonight we will start with Supervisor Gallardo, and I already had a chance to share a few thoughts on the video, but just want to share a couple of things. First of all, we have a plaque for Supervisor Gallardo. He has been here for 4 years, but actually served 8 total. So on his plaque, it does note that he served the Phoenix Union community from 2005 to 2008, as well as from 2019 to 2022. He's also served as a board member and told us tonight that he's worked with 9 superintendents over many, many years, which we value your service. And I'll just say a couple more things. I really meant what I said in the video. You came on at the perfect time, and you've been such a blessing to come in during COVID and the pandemic, and all that you have done at the county and in the community. We just could not think of a better board member for a 4-year term at the right time. And we love your passion for our kids in our community, that every time you come to the dais, every time you're in the community, it's a true, authentic passion for our kids. And what many people probably don't know is that as a county supervisor, you also do so much more for our families. Anytime we have a family in crisis, I just text Supervisor Gallardo, and he makes sure that he comes through to help our families. And so he does so much more than the community gets to see. So thank you so much, sir, for your service. I will make sure you get this in a moment, and I'll turn it over to President Alston.
Okay, Steve, thank you for your service. We've been through a lot of battles, through a lot of years, in a lot of places, a lot of venues. You're a really super special person that I really love. And I love you, the person, and I also love your passion for our kids, for our families, and your sincere devotion to Phoenix Union High School District. I'll miss you. And I meant what I said on the video. I expect that you will be back after a little rest because you do bring so much to our district that we need and we love. So thank you. And others, members? Ms. Ross?
Hey, Steve. I just want to say what I respect about you is the work that you do that you don't draw attention to. You just do the work because you want to improve people's lives and your community, and I respect that about you, so thank you.
So Steve.
Ms. Pastor?
Be nice. I will. I don't know why I have that reputation. I just make things happen. So congratulations. It's been a pleasure serving next to you. You and I have never served next to each other, but this has been a joy and a ride. Steve knows my personality because Steve and I went to college together and have known each other even long before that. So he also knows my passion and is able then to decipher through it and say, okay, we're going to get there, Laura. This is how we're going to do it. So I appreciate you not only as a friend, but you're also family. And so thank you for having your commitment, because I believe you and I as machistas have continued to have a commitment in the community, and look at where we landed and where we are today. So thank you. Congratulations. Love you.
Fun. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Mr. Prescott?
Thank you, President Alston. Steve, it's been a pleasure and honor serving alongside you. I will echo what everyone else said, and I've appreciated your energy and the ability to cross between county issues and the local school board issues, particularly when we were dealing with COVID. That was really remarkable. I think the one thing I will say about serving with you is it is sometimes difficult to be a co-board member, because every time I give a speech, you then give another speech on the same topic, and I'm like, wow, he said it so much better than I did. Every single time I was like, yeah. So I do, it's been an honor serving with you, and looking forward to your continued service at the county and throughout our local government.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Mr. Marquez?
Yeah, Steve, I feel lucky that I was able to meet you in 2004 as a young field organizer, and now honored to sit right next to you as a fellow school board member.
2004. Wow, yeah.
Yeah, so, I know you have many titles, school board member, state representative, state senator, county supervisor, but I think the title I'm most impressed with is coach.
My favorite one.
And I'm so impressed with all of the extra work that you put into the students and young people that you get to coach directly. But also know that we're very lucky to have you as a member of our Board of Supervisors, very much, and not in any hyperbolic fashion, saying that you're defending our democracy at the right where we need it during this very critical time for our country. And I think both school districts and county supervisors, and a lot of people don't know what a county supervisor does, really it's just consequential for our country and for our families and our students at this moment in history. So thank you.
Thank you. Madam President, it has been a sincere honor to be able to sit here with these fine folks and the executive team and everyone that does so much to really just raise the bar here at Phoenix Union. I mean, it is, in my opinion, the best school district in the state, in the country. It is one school district that, yes, we push academic excellence and all that stuff, but there's another side to us that we really, when we talk about serving our students and serving our family and our community, we do it. We do it. And even if it means helping some of our feeder schools, particularly around COVID, and helping them adjust, Phoenix Union, this entire team has been there doing it. And others see it. They do. I've always been a strong believer. It takes a village. It does. Many of our kids face tremendous challenges economically, socially, and when you have a school district that can step in and address so many of those critical issues outside the campus, I think it's just a blessing for all the work that our families can receive. I remember the day that Laura, Councilwoman Pastor, called me up and said, "Steve, are you interested in running for school?" I'd made a decision when I left Cartwright. My school board days are over. It's time to focus, do other stuff. And when Laura called and said, "Hey, would you be interested in running for school board?" I initially told her no. And then she kept calling me like every day until I said yes. And I said, "I'll do one term." But Laura and I go back many, many moons. I think our first campaign together was a gentleman by the name of Ed Pastor. He was a county supervisor that was going to run for Congress. It was going to be one of the first Latinos to represent Arizona in the United States Congress. And as young students, we were young. We were all involved in that campaign, and that's when we really all kind of launched our own careers. I wouldn't be where I am now if it wasn't for her father, Congressman Pastor, but Laura and I go back a long ways. We have done so many battles over the years, but Laura, it's just been an honor to call you not only a friend, but a close family member. We've been through so much. So I know we're not going to be apart for long. No. There will be other things that you and I will be participating, but I want to thank you for your words, and they meant a lot. Aaron, it has, I can't believe it's been what campaign was that? Kerry campaign? Kerry campaign. Those were fun times. But no, Aaron, you have really brought another perspective to many of the issues, which is always good, to be able to look at different sides of an issue and be able to study it and do the best and come up with the best conclusion to many of the issues facing our families and our community, and how do we thrive to move the district forward. You have just been right there on the mark. I appreciate your friendship. I appreciate your work. I know I can tell you this, you're probably going elsewhere, I'm sure, politically. I see it in your future, brother. I see it. You may not see it. I see it. But nonetheless, it's just been an honor to be here. You've been a great friend and a great colleague here on the board, so I appreciate it. Nikita, I have never met someone more passionate for our young people. I mean, you all think, well, we're all advocates for our community and our kids, but Nikita takes it to a whole nother level. I mean, her passion is so much, and it is just, and I couldn't agree more with your stance and your comments. Our kids deserve the best. Many of them face tremendous challenges. Both of us are passionate when it comes to foster care and our foster care kids. I have a young one through the Big Brothers Big Sisters that I've been able to see him grow through the foster care system and be just a great young adult entering into adult life. He was texting me earlier, by the way, but I see your passion when it comes to our kids and our community, and I couldn't be more pleased. And you've just been a great colleague. Thank you so much for everything you do. Stanford, we've known for a long time, but we've never really we've been on the same side of many of the issues, but to work directly together has been a great honor. You'll continue to do so much great work for our refugees, families, and our community. You've been there when things were really tough on a lot of the immigration-related issues, and you've just been a great partner to be with, not only on the board, but just in the community. I appreciate the work you have done. And Miss Leela. We're going to go do some more battles coming this next couple of years at the legislature. It is time to rock and roll. But Leela has been there. I mean, to see Leela I have no idea. How many years have you been in the legislature? Can I ask?
I will be starting my 31st.
31st year. And she continues to just be that trooper, just advocating for the people of Arizona and her legislative district. And I see her not only here on the board, but I see her there at the Capitol. I don't know how she does it, but she continues to push and really be that champion for our families and our kids. And I look forward. I'll be there at the Capitol with you. We're going to be working together. Trust me. I'm going to do some stuff in regards to the county and working with hopefully Governor-elect Hobbs when it comes to the next couple of years. But thank you so much for really just being a true leader on this board, and I look forward to continue to work. And then Dr. G, the executive team, I said this before and I'll say this again, I see so many school districts that are just struggling right now with enrollment's down. They're making tough decisions when it comes to closing schools. Phoenix Union is not in that position. The fact is we have kids continue to come and be a part of this school district, this family, and it is because of the leadership of you, Dr. G, your executive team, our teachers, every team member here in Phoenix Union that has made really Phoenix Union that flagship of the best school district. Best in class is a term I like to use, and that's what Phoenix Union is. It's a best in class when it comes to education, best in class when it comes to serving our community, our students, and it is because of your leadership, executive team, everyone, all our teachers and classified, and of course, this board just all working together to make that happen. So thank you all. It's been a great 4 years, and I look forward to seeing great things coming out of Phoenix Union and continue to work with you all. Thank you.
Okay. Next is, I'll hand this to you all in a little bit. How's that? The plaque. Next, would like to spend some time talking about Vice Mayor Laura Pastor. I said it on the video, so Vice Mayor has been on the board for 12 years, and I alluded to this, but 12 years, over a decade of volunteer service. And if you know anything about Vice Mayor, she is one of the hardest working community leaders I've ever met. She works at the city, she works at Phoenix College, she obviously spends a ton of time advocating in Phoenix Union and does more than that in the broader community. And she advocates for students, for families, for parents, and in Phoenix Union, she's been a fierce advocate for our kids, for our programs, dual enrollment, and so many other items. Tonight we'll talk about achievement. It's been something that Vice Mayor has been very passionate about. And I know for our team and for our district, we have benefited greatly from Ms. Pastor's advocacy for our kids in our district. So thank you so much, Vice Mayor. It's been a pleasure to serve with you, and I will turn it to President, please.
Okay, thank you. Vice Mayor Pastor, we have been friends for a long, long time. I think you were a mere child when I first worked on some of your dad's campaigns. And it's been a pleasure. Our friendship won't end tonight. And I really appreciate the work that you do in your professional life at Phoenix College, your passion for dual enrollment and career and technical education, where our visions align. And it's so important that you bring your vice mayor job at the city of Phoenix to help out here in Phoenix Union. I think that having our different areas of government represented on this board has been unique and really helpful. And I know that you can cut through the chase at the city and save so many of our community issues and things we care about for our kids and our families. So thank you, Laura. Mr. Stanford Prescott.
Laura, I just want to say that I have always appreciated your friendship and your leadership. Laura is a fierce advocate on all things, but that's been really helpful for me on different issues we've worked together on, is being able to work together to actually push those together. And so I appreciate your leadership both here at the school board as well as at the city. Thank you.
Ms. Ross.
Laura, everyone was welcoming when I first joined the board, but you were the most welcoming, the most like open arms. What do you need? How can I help you feel comfortable? So I want to say thank you for that's genuinely who you are as a person. But the other thing that has been very helpful and awesome with being with you on the board is you challenged me just being you to like see things differently and think outside the box. And just dig deeper. And so I appreciate that. So thank you.
Mr. Marquez?
Sure. For people at home, I think we knew each other but didn't really know each other before I joined this board 2 years ago, and I will say just thank you because I've really enjoyed the friendship and the mentorship to learn how to navigate being a newly elected official, to learn how to push different policy priorities, even brainstorming some of them with you that we didn't necessarily agree with. But also, recognizing the role of an elected official of a governing board to ask, hard questions and to do that from a place of really genuine care and concern for our community and our schools and our students and our families. So thank you so much, and I look forward to continuing to watch you serve the city of Phoenix on the city council and asking tough questions there as well. Thank you.
Mr. Gallardo?
Thank you, Madam President. Laura, what can I say? Thank you. Yeah, no, for those that really have not had a chance to really work real close to Laura, you'd get to know that she is definitely a person of action. If you ever want to get anything done, that's what you go do, especially the city of Phoenix or here. You go to Laura. Laura get things done. Even all the different stuff we deal with at the county and like, oh, we need Phoenix. Let's go to Laura. Laura will make things happen. But you're like a sister. You're a friend and a family member. We've known each other for so long, and we'll continue. I'm sure we'll continue to work hand in hand on many different issues, particularly when it comes to helping our families and our kids. And no one will ever question your passion for our community and our students. And it's always fun to be able to sit here next to you every board meeting and give you a lot of heck. But love you, Laura.
Love you too. That's
Ms.
it?
Pastor?
I'm not used to this. So at the next meeting, Stanford and Steve, we have a date. We will be sitting at a restaurant out in the patio, possibly around 4:45, having happy hour, okay? And we will send the picture to those. I also like to thank former board member Randy Schiller, who is texting me away watching this. I was going to end my tenure 8 years ago. It was Randy Schiller who convinced me to run again. And I said, all right, I'll do one more term. Well, Randy Schiller didn't win the race, but I gained a sister, Nikita Ross, at that point. And so technically I would be stepping off. I would have stepped off already. I want to congratulations to Dr. G for his award last night of Valley Leadership Man of the Year. Well deserved, and I want to congratulate you. So everybody can clap for him. I also want to thank all the staff that serves this great institution, because if you aren't the backbone of this institution, we wouldn't be here today. So I want to give you kudos to you. Oh, there's Randy. I didn't see him. Oh my gosh. And I want to give kudos to all of you. So I would like the board to give you a round of applause for all the work that you do. So here you go. And continue the fight, continue the strength, continue to be brave in challenging some of the policies, and continue to keep the city and Phoenix Union moving forward. Before I leave, sometimes I'm misinterpreted because I'm so passionate. And I'm misinterpreted because I fight so hard. And I'm like a pit bull that won't let that bone go until it gets to where it needs to get to. So I live by many different, I'm very spiritual, grew up in a Catholic family, but went to Catholic school, but I'm very spiritual. And the 4 pieces, the 4 agreements is really where I stand by. And so the first agreement, and for the young students that are here, so this is all part of your leadership role, and thank you for being here, is to be impeccable with your word. And by being impeccable with your word, anything that comes out of your mouth should be what you're going to own and understand where it's going to go, because it gives energy. The word gives energy to whatever, positive or negative. So whatever's said, unless you don't say it and you think it, it goes, and people hear it or feel it. Number 2 is don't take anything personal. I wouldn't survive in the climate that we're in as elected if I took everything personal and what is said to me negatively, yelling at me, telling me how bad I am, I'm not truthful. So don't take it personal. When somebody does something like that, you know it's something else internal going on, and there's something else that's you happen to take the energy. What I would say is when you take that energy, learn to release that energy back out so that all the good energy is there to protect you. Number 3 is don't make assumptions. So I don't make assumptions. That's why I ask questions. I ask questions because I was elected to make tough decisions, and I was elected to make those decisions with all the background and understanding. So I don't make assumptions, and I will push, and I will say, no, it's not there. People don't like it because they want to do their job and just get it off their plate. But I challenge, and there's nothing wrong in challenging. There's nothing wrong. It doesn't make me bad. It doesn't make me evil. It just makes me want to do the right thing at the right time and create good policy to make it happen. And always do your best. I'm not always at my best at times, depending on how tired I am, depending on what issue is in my mind or what I'm carrying. But I always try to do my best. I always try to come forward with my best. But I apologize if I don't. And I will apologize. That's one of the things about being impeccable with your word. If I'm wrong, and I'll say I'm wrong, and I admit it. I'm going to leave with a story. We lost a teacher, or a part-time teacher, a coach also. It hit close to the family because Coach D, that family, his family grew up with my mom's family in Superior. So it's a small little town, mining town, Superior, Arizona. Didn't really know the relationship until I went to St. Mary's. And at St. Mary's, Coach D was the coach. So everybody enjoyed Coach D. He was the teacher and the coach. He went through generations of St. Mary's families, and I lost track of him. And then I one day came back, and you'll love this story, moved back to Chicago. I got a job at the Department of Insurance. Lynn, you'll like this one too. All it is regulatory, writing rules, reading, trying to revise statutes, working with the lobbyists in the healthcare industry with this word, that word. It was, for an ADDer, that is tough. And I was like, I have to get out of here. I'll stay here. I had just had my first son, my child, Eddie, and I was like, I got to figure this out. I sat and did my 2 years, but I happened to be learning at the department and the consumer area where consumers could write complaints, and we had to read the complaints and then go and advocate for that complaint and against the insurer. Who happens to be there was Coach D's sister. And she says, you don't know me, but I know you. I said, oh, okay. How do you know me? Your family's from Superior. I'm Coach D's sister, and I'm going to mentor you through this whole process. So I ended up in the consumer area, and then I transferred to DES where Leela was. And I had been gone for 4 or 5 years, and Leela's like, what are you doing, Laura? I'm here, I'm working here. What are you doing? What's your area? We had the same space area. At that time, I was in charge of grants and monitoring grants and making sure that they were in compliance. So I would see Leela all the time. Leela always had the candy, and I was able to go over there and eat candy and sit. And so my point is that in all of this, you see relationships and patterns of how it's such a small city. And then after that, I got elected, and where do I go? Metro Tech, and who's there? Coach D. So for me, it's full circle. For me, we lost a light, but yet we have light. And when I found out about his son, which happens to be in an area where I bordered that area, I was very sad to hear what had happened. There are no details still. We're not really sure what happened. But my point of all of that is that relationships are key. It doesn't matter how they're going to pop up and show up. You also need to know, young ladies, that you don't know who you're related to. You don't know who comadre, compadre they belong to. You don't know, oh, that's my comadre, but you don't know who the neighbor is. So I go back to be impeccable with your word, because you don't know what you're saying to that person that then travels to somewhere else. And the word becomes full circle. I finally want to say to everybody is, Leela, you're the rock of this board, but you're also rock for the state and for the city for serving 31 years. And thank you for that.
Thank you.
Great love, great appreciation for it. Stanford, you and I met, I want to say it was SB 1070. I can't remember that particular campaign that you and I met.
Probably
and I,
2011.
okay. And so all I remember is the overalls at that point. Do you remember that?
That must have been a long time. I've had some questionable facts.
I don't know if there was a movement going on and I was part of it. So, and it was a whole group of young field workers. And so Stanford, I've seen you evolve to where you are today, which I am so proud of you, because you were such a quiet guy then. You wouldn't say anything. You just observed everything. And to see you here today, sitting alongside me and doing the work that you're doing for our community, I just want to thank you. Nikita, as I said, you're one of the sisters that came to the board, and then all of a sudden I had force. You are a force on this board, a quiet force though. So it's now, as we move forward and we move on, that quietness needs to be loud and make sure that the changes that need to happen, happen. You do it with grace and humility at all times. I have never seen that craft, because that's not how I am. And what I mean by that is you will go and you will say something very super nice, and then all of a sudden is, however, or but, and then you'll turn around and end it with something nice. So I got to learn, to tell you, I'm observing and learning from you. You're welcome. And Erin, you're committed. I know sometimes people think that you're just doing things just to do it, and that's not true. What I loved about you, or love about you, is that you do the research. And so that's what I do. Before I'm going to go for something, I'm going to find every angle that I can do. And you're deliberate in doing it. I think at times we're misinterpret interpreted because of our delivery and how we deliver. And so I'm not saying to change or anything, but if we want people to hear us at times, we have to take that step back and pull that energy back in so people can hear us. And so you're a great leader, and you know what you're doing. So, I mean, that is what it is. And of course, Steve, you've always been the voice, the calm voice, in the sense of, okay, I understand, but how are we going to do this? Where are we going to do this? How are we going to present this? So I enjoy that soft calmness, because I'm not that. I'm the firecracker.
There you are.
Yeah, and I can recognize it and own it. But see, what happens is that because of my personality, because of my fight, I get people present in front of me all the time to take on their fight. For me, it's a matter of choosing if I'm going to take on that fight and if I'm going to take that energy, because who's the person that's in front, who's leading, who's going to get burned. And sometimes we have to do that. And that's the role I have chosen. So I want to thank everybody in the room for being committed and being here to say goodbye to us. I also want to say, as we end, adelante. Thank you.
All right, and finally, last but not least, but I do want to say, listening to Vice Mayor today and Supervisor, and I know this community knows this, but how fortunate on our board between Vice Mayor Pastor, Supervisor Gallardo, and Senator Alston, who have local and statewide and national political and community icons on our board. That doesn't happen often. Where you have people, I can't imagine the years of service just between, and senators not leaving, but I know that there was the comment about 31, but just to think about the history and the knowledge and the connections, which is why when I said bittersweet, to think about this board losing, and we'll talk about how incredible Stanford Prescott is here in a second, but to lose the history, and you'll hear, we're actually extremely proud of the work of Stanford. But just as you were talking, Vice Mayor, just made me think about the history and the knowledge and the wisdom that has made us stronger. And so we're very, very blessed. And as I said, certainly last but not least is board member and now ending his term, Clerk Prescott. And Stanford has served our board for 8 years, so he has his 8-year plaque, began on the board in 2015. So just like Vice Mayor and Stanford, I've never been a superintendent without you at the dais. And so saying goodbye will be challenging because I don't know how to be a superintendent without you two at the dais. And so it'll be sad to see you go. Stanford, I said in the video that you brought so many creative ideas to our school district, and they're tangible. We see them every single day in the work that we do. And you've changed so many lives. We've also seen you be so active in the community, not just at the academies at South Mountain. Anytime we've needed you to be a board rep, you're always at Academic Decathlon, always asking, when's the next turkey drive, because I want to give. When's the next clothes drive? I want to give. You are always giving and never taking, and that's incredible. I also think you're a great example of Phoenix Union. You're the South Mountain graduate, go Jags. But you make us proud. You got your bachelor's degree, your master's degree. You now work internationally. I don't know if you know, Stanford was just in London and doing incredible work literally across the globe. And so you not only make us proud as a board member, but as an alum of our school district. And then finally, before I turn over to President Alston, Stanford Prescott did something that I don't know how many board members have ever done after 8 years. We're educators, and so we like to recognize attendance. Believe it or not, Stanford Prescott had 8 years of perfect attendance. He never once missed a board meeting. If he traveled, he was there virtually. Even when he was sick, he was there virtually For 8 years, Stanford never missed a single board meeting. And so because we're educators, he gets a perfect attendance plaque as well to hang with you. So congratulations, Stanford. Thank you so much. Go Jaguars, President.
Thank you, Dr. G. Stanford, I have loved serving with you. I so admire your work in the community. I think we met way back when, before you even came on the board, but our refugee students are so special, and what you do for that community is just an absolute wonderful service to humanity. We have over 100 languages spoken in this district, and I think you probably touch the lives of each of those communities. And I'm humbled and awestruck with the work you do. And as Dr. G has mentioned, the growth that you have shown in a really relatively short time. And I'm especially happy that you have been the board clerk during my time. And thank you for speaking Spanish, which I have tried over the years to learn and failed, just flat out failed. So thank you for your friendship, for your guidance, for sometimes pulling me back when I needed that. And I really, really care about you and wish you the best, and I'm going to miss your service and your friendship on this board. So thank you. Ms. Ross?
Stanford, you've been my measuring stick, and not just because of the policies you initiated, like the PB process, but like your, what's the word, diplomacy. You're really good at what Laura says I'm good at, which I know I struggle with just like being very diplomatic, because there have been times where I've lost my patience and like, but you've always just, even with the tough topics, you've always been very diplomatic. And so you've been my measuring stick all of this time. And so it's weird with you leaving. I'm like, okay, now who do I follow as my guide? And so I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Stanford, I just want to say how genuine you come across in everything that you do. And, you know, as an alum of of South Mountain, it's so apparent how much you love your ward and the schools you represent and the district. And I've really appreciated how much you think about shepherding the institution and thinking about your role as a caretaker of the institution. And I've seen that demonstrated in how you think about how we interact with each other as board members, but also how we interact with our community, in opening up public participation. That was, you know, something I think we found some common ground on, because I was frustrated when I started, and we were still in the COVID. I know we still have COVID today, and we're not wearing masks, and I'm not wearing a mask tonight, but you know, I'm excited to see a full boardroom tonight, and I think me and you, I've appreciated you leading on that, and then I've appreciated you leading on participatory budgeting, and look forward to watching whatever you do next to focus on your personal life. I know that's a goal of yours, but also watching the work you get to do with the IRC. I know for me, all refugees, but in particular the Afghan refugees, are really important, and I know you've done an incredible work in your civilian job over the last few years, but last year specifically on that, so thank you.
Madam President, Stanford, I thought I knew what I was going to say until I heard this perfect attendance thing, and it kind of makes us all look bad, don't it? It makes us look bad, like public shaming us, like, wow, perfect attendance. Who the hell does that? Like, well, congratulations. I didn't know about that. Like, now it's like, man, yeah, perfect attendance. Do you even have perfect attendance, Dr. G?
Did I know?
Do you?
Yeah, we've been tracking it, and he notified, we were talking about it a couple months ago, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, well.
striving for that.
I know. No, congratulations on that, Mr. President. But no, you have just really been just a solid board member, community leaders, and most folks, even outside this boardroom or this school district, you go out to the community, not just your ward, anywhere, and you bring up Stanford Prescott, and you bring up his name, everyone will praise. You bring up Laura and I, and there will be one or two people going to throw rocks at us, but not you. And that's no. But that just goes to the hard work and the credibility and how they know how sincere you are, particularly when it comes to the IRC and helping the refugees. And you have made me a better policymaker and elected official. There were so many times, particularly during COVID. We're thinking and we're trying to cover all our angles there at the county, working with public health, working with DHS. We're trying to do everything we can. And then you would remind us that there's a whole nother community out there that's being overlooked. And those are refugees, from housing to just basic services to the vaccine, it's testing, all that stuff. And so you have helped me just be a better supervisor, better policy, just a continued reminder that we have a community out there that needs that special attention. They need our help. They need that lift, that focus, and you're a constant reminder of not only the great work the IRC is doing, but the families out there that really do need a special attention. So I thank you for that. I thank you for your service. I think the comments that were made were just right on. There were so many times. Like Laura and I would be talking about a certain issue, and I would always say, well, where's Stanford at? What's his thoughts? Because that's the type of boardsmanship you bring to Phoenix Union. So thank you so much. I know our paths will continue to cross. We'll continue to work. Kudos to all the work you do with the IRC and our refugee families. So we'll be working together. Thank you.
Thank you, Stanford, for everything you do. Obviously, everything has been said, but more importantly, I do know your passion for the refugees, because you and I have worked very closely on the refugee piece with the IRC. I have a majority, now it's expanding out, but District 4 has a majority of refugees and the housing piece that goes along with it. And so I was thank you for that. I learned, because of you, I learned that I needed to do, especially during COVID, that I needed to do all types of translations. And you came to the forefront and said, all right, we'll get you what you need to be able to get it translated. And so because of those 100 languages, we were able to get the most predominant languages translated and out into the community. And so I don't think I formally have thanked you, but thank you for doing that and helping me during that time in COVID. And that's really important to remember, that we do have a refugee population, and a reminder other than just Spanish. And so thank you for always doing that and advocating for that community. I appreciate it. I'll have a new election sometime in the future, so I will be working side by side. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody. So quick note on the attendance part. So first off, is not intended to shame everybody. No, so two things. One, any of my former South Mountain teachers can attest that was not the case when I was a student. My senior year, Phoenix Union had a policy where if you missed so many days, you could not graduate. So I missed one less than that, and intentionally planned it out. But I think for me, I went ahead and, South Phoenix, where I'm from, has had a lot of leaders over the years, and sometimes those leaders have been, they haven't been the best leaders. They haven't shown up. They haven't represented the community in the way that people expect. And I just felt that showing up was a minimum of doing what people elected me for. I do want to start. I'll start by saying some thank yous. So a thank you to the board. I've already thanked Board Member Pastor and Gallardo. Aaron, it's been a pleasure to work with you as well. I've really appreciated your new ideas that you've brought to the board. Nikita, your passion for students, greatly appreciated. And Leela, your experience. I consider everybody on the board friends. We've all had our ups and downs. We've all had our policy disagreements, but I consider us all friends, even former board members like Randy and Ian and Linda, Stephanie, who's not here. I greatly appreciate you all. Dr. Gueston, it's been an honor to work with you as well. I also, I briefly worked with Dr. Scribner, but most of my work was with you. And so when I think of the superintendent, I think of Phoenix Union, I think of you. And I think your leadership has been shown, particularly these past few years during the COVID, and being able to put the district in a position where we're a national leader on that issue in providing vaccines and making sure that we had masks when it was necessary. And so I greatly appreciate that. To our employees, thank you. Phoenix Union students get a high-quality education because of the work of all of our thousands of employees. Of course, our teachers in the classroom, but also our education support professionals who make our schools clean, and they help get kids to school on the bus, and they ensure that we're safe, and they ensure that they have great food prepared for them in the cafeteria. Those workers are essential to the function of a school district, and I greatly appreciate them. And then to our admin team. Some politicians in Arizona like to beat up on school administration, but administrators are hardworking folks. I was at the academic decathlon tournament a couple weeks back, and 3 of our principals were there on a Saturday and had been there pretty much the whole Saturday, and they were talking about what they were going to do for the district on Sunday. And so school administrators do a lot of work, and so our principals, our vice principals, our district administrators, a big thank you to you. For our boardroom, I want to give 2 special thank yous. One to the IT team who is here before us and after us. They make all of this possible for folks to watch at home. And also a special thank you to our Carl Hayden Falcons who, some of the folks who are here tonight are required to be here tonight. The Carl Hayden Falcons are not required to be here tonight. And they have been here for years. I don't know exactly. They might have missed a board meeting or 2, so I don't know if they can get a plaque. But no, I really do appreciate you all being steady advocates for your school and your students. And then I just want to also issue a welcome to our new board members. I know a couple folks are here tonight. Ginny Hernandez, Seisha Napa, Signa Oliver. Huge welcome and a congratulations to Stephanie and Nikita who will be returning. One fun fact I realized when I was looking at the new board members is all 5 of the ward representatives are women of color. I think that's a really important achievement for representation. Snapping or clapping is appropriate. And although Aaron, that does mean you are the only man on the board, so you got to represent us well. So I just want to share a little bit of my history on the board and I think where we're going, I think some of our big challenges. First off, I'm really proud of Phoenix Union having been a student here at South Mountain, but then also serving on the board. And we have come so far since I was a student. My first board meeting I ever went to was as a student. We were receiving some award for academic decathlon, and we came here to get recognized and shake hands with the board. And there was, I don't recall exactly who was involved in it, but there was an argument on the board about wall ball courts, and at that time, Phoenix Union's stats weren't good. South Mountain had a very low graduation rate, had a double-digit dropout rate. It was messy at the board and at some of the schools, and our district really came together. From that period when I was a student to when I started on the board, a lot of changes were made. New board members were elected. Those board members work closely with admin. They work closely with each other. They work closely with our employee associations. And we were able to make some real changes as a district. The reality is that when we look at any of our stats as a district, when we look at our scholarship totals, our graduation rates, our dropout rates, all of them are astronomically better than they were 15 years ago. And that's in part due to that collaborative environment we built. And we've achieved a lot. I think that the district's importance is spoken through our actions. Local government is more important than ever. A lot of Americans are justifiably frustrated with the federal government, regardless of your political views. There's a lot of people who are frustrated in action. They're frustrated at the politics in D.C. And local government leads the way. I'll give you one example. 2015, when I was first elected, one of the first policies I worked on was our non-discrimination policies and equal opportunity policies. Phoenix Union at that point, we had protections, of course, for race and sex and gender, all the ones that are required under federal law. We also had a protection for sexual orientation at that time, which a previous board had put in place. But we did not have explicit protections for gender identity, gender expression, which would protect our transgender and our non-binary community members. And so I spoke to a board member from the Creighton School District. They shared with me their policy, and then we worked together to pass it. It was one of the first big policies I passed in 2015. And for me, it meant a lot because we had a lot of people who, I had both students and employees who came to me afterwards who told me that they were more comfortable being themselves at our district, more comfortable coming out. They were more comfortable actually sharing their identities. And that's the importance of local government, because even now, 8 years later, that type of protections, basic non-discrimination protections, still don't exist at the federal level. Most school districts in Arizona still don't have those types of protections, and it's because of the local leadership we have here that we have that type of protections. And so never underestimate what the school board can do and what types of successes we can have. Issues have gotten a lot harder over these 8 years. When I started, it was the final years of the Obama administration. I know that, for me at least, I felt like the country was moving in the right direction, perhaps slowly, but we were moving there in fits and starts. And we've had a lot of things happen since then. COVID, probably the largest among them. The prices of things have gone much higher with inflation. That's put a big burden on working class families. The issues are going to be a lot tougher for the board that starts in 2023 than they were for me in 2015. And I think that requires a stronger level of collaboration and better ways of working than we've had. When I started, I saw, when I started on the board, I saw how much success we were having as a district, and I saw our primary obstacles external. Our primary obstacles were the state legislature, the governor underfunding public education, and various hateful legislation that was being passed. And those are still problems, but I think what I've come to realize, having seen our successes through COVID, seeing our successes through all these tough issues, is that our biggest challenge, our biggest obstacle is not external, because we survived COVID, we survived all these other challenges. Our biggest challenge is actually ensuring that we still have a quality internal structure, that we function as a strong leader at the board, functioning as a strong leader as a district. I would encourage the new board to really think about how to collaborate better, how to make those into formal processes. That's something I've tried to work on this past year, is to ensure that we have a strong process to be inherited by the future board, but I think that's something that still needs to be worked on, because those issues are tougher, that we need to make sure that our district collaborates effectively. I offer my support to the new board, and to any other board members. Feel free to reach out to me. I'm happy to share my thoughts. But serving here has been one of the highest honors of my life. We've made a real difference for tens of thousands of students, for our broader community, and I'm really proud of it. So thank you, everybody, for your support over the years. Thank you for this opportunity, and go Jaguars.
Yeah, in a second. We'll do pictures first. All right, President Alston, members of the board, I have one more thing to share, and then we're going to take pictures with plaques of the board, and then I'll introduce our new board members, and then we'll move on to the next item. So the last thing that I'm going to share is we've already done our initial ribbon cuttings for this building. This governing board has been a great supporter of all things in this district, but they've also been great supporters of the boring stuff like infrastructure and bonds and supporting even this central office. And we've cut the initial ribbon on this building. As you can tell, it's beautiful. A lot of this was because of the input and advocacy of the governing board. And when we did our first ribbon cutting, we didn't have a chance to have the plaque out front. And so we have a plaque. We'll put a larger one, and we'll put a formal plaque that will be there for years to come, but we thought it was appropriate before our 3 outgoing board members left that their names sat on the front of the building. So every time people come, they'll know the incredible dedication you had to the district, but also to this district office. So you will see this soon up front, and your names hopefully forever on this building moving forward. So with that, let's give them a really big round of applause. And we're going to come forward for a picture, and then the 3 outgoing, your plaques are here. You can grab them for a picture. Be careful for all the cords and all the stuff, please. In a second. We missed someone? It gets deactivated in 1 hour. Yeah, I'm kidding.
Hey, I've got 30 days. What's an emergency?
All right. President Alston, are you fine if I continue? Yes. Excellent.
Carry on.
Sorry, we'll go back. There we go. That was the picture. Okay. So President Alston, members of the board, and I know next month our new board members will have a chance to sit at the dais and really truly introduce themselves. But I mentioned today at the very beginning that today is a bittersweet day. Hopefully today you saw the bitter side for an executive team and a superintendent to lose 3 board members that are so committed and rooted in our community is a huge loss to Phoenix Union. And I also mentioned it's a sweet day because in about a month we will formally welcome 3 new board members that I'll just quickly introduce tonight. And first is Signa Oliver. Signa, if you don't mind, stand and wave. This is Signa. Let's welcome Signa Oliver. Signa is going to be an incredible leader with very deep roots in Phoenix Union. She's going to represent Ward 2. She's also a South Mountain rebel. Yeah, don't careful. So she's a South Mountain rebel, not a Jaguar. When Miss Oliver and I had a chance to tour South Mountain together, and she ran into Principal Fair, who is also a South Mountain grad, and the first question was, Jaguar or Rebel? And so, anyhow, Miss Oliver, I mentioned earlier that Stanford is a really great representation of Phoenix Union. So is Miss Oliver, who has an incredible history and journey to get her to where she's at today. And one of the cooler parts of touring the campus with you is Miss Oliver is an attorney by trade, and we had a chance to go into the courtroom at South Mountain, and that did not exist when she was there. And for her to see how far we've come, but also we have a long way to go and a lot of great work to do. So we are very excited to have you join our community and our team and our board, and are really excited about the future with you. So thank you, and let's give her another round of applause. Welcome, congratulations. Seisha Napa is not able to be with us tonight, had planned to, but unfortunately is not able to be here. She also is, and we had a chance to give a quick wave to her last month. Seisha will be, based on all that we know, we've been around for 130 years. And based on what we know from our history, we think she's the first ever Native American governing board member ever to serve on our board. And she is also a North High School alumna. And when I first met with her the first time, she still remembers all of her teachers and talks fondly about Dan Dodge and Paul Lowe's and Julie Palisard, and just remembers the history. And so she is going to be just an incredible board member. She also works for Glendale Community College and the Hoop of Learning program, so she's going to bring a lot of passion. So Seisha's not here tonight, but we'll have a chance to meet her in person. And then finally, Jennifer Hernandez, who had one of our, please stand. Jennifer we had one of our most awkward new onboarding meetings that I've ever had. It'll be funny in a second, I promise. We're sitting in our office, sitting in my office the second time that Jennifer and I had a chance to meet, and I had a chance to have Espy and Isela and Edith come in, just a quick introduction. And as we're sitting in my office, just storytelling and who are we and where do we come from, she was learning that many of our executive team members, like the three I mentioned, are actually Phoenix Union alumna, that many of us are from this community, live in this community. And as we have this great storytelling moment, outside the window runs a big rat. And the reaction in the room created a really great bonding moment between the four of us, or the five of us at that time. As we're trying to get rid of them in this building, not welcome them back to this building. But don't worry, don't quit squirming. They're not here anymore. So let me say a couple things about Ms. Hernandez. One, she also is from the Phoenix Union community. She had attended Maryville High School. She did not graduate from Maryville High School because her family left. And I'll have her tell her story publicly next month, I'm assuming, about why her family left. But she is so passionate about our kids and so passionate about our community, and has been an advocate and an organizer for many years. And as we've had a chance to get to know each other and talk, it's very clear that she will really be focused on kids' community engagement in really incredible ways. And so we're very excited to have Ms. Hernandez and Ms. Napa and Ms. Oliver join the board. So let's give them one more big round of applause. Thank you so much. And by next month, they'll have their names up here and will join us at the dais. So thank you so much to the broader community for giving us this hour to recognize three just amazing board members as they leave, and a chance to introduce our new board members. And with that, I will turn it back to you, President.
Thank you, Dr. Gaston. The next item on the agenda is item 3A, reports from student government. Tonight, we have student government representatives from Alhambra High School, Desarrollo, and Cesar Chavez High School. Our student government representatives this evening will highlight their school in this order: Cassandra Padilla from Alhambra, Angel Vizcarra from Desarrollo, who will not be joining us in person but has pre-recorded his report, and Esmeralda Guerrero from Cesar Chavez. Cassandra, welcome to our board meeting. Will you please provide your report?
And President, as Cassandra comes up, I do have to point out that as Stanford was talking about the tricks of attendance in high school, she said, "Hey, thanks for the great advice." That's not bad. Yeah, thanks for the idea.
Of my teachers like the idea, but
They don't. Please don't.
I'll let them know you're an alumni from South Mountain. Got the idea from a South Mountain alumni. But good evening, President Alston, Governor and board meeting members, and Dr. Guestson. I pronounced it correctly. My name is Cassandra Padilla, and I am the student body president for Alhambra High School for the 2022 to 2023 school year. So I will be graduating this year. So yeah, I'm excited for that. But yeah, go Lions. I'm a little sad, but we'll have to graduate. Okay, so to get started, we have the fall sports and like the assembly to recognize fall sports. Obviously, we all know like fall or sports are very important at school. I feel like it's a way to bring kids together and to have them like create new relationships with each other. Or like, I'm a student athlete, so like I know that's where most of my friendships like have been made. So I feel like other students have like the same feeling, and it also like brings kids to come to school and like want to learn and like want to come to school. So I feel like sports are very important, an important part of school. At the assembly, sport teams had the opportunity to share their achievements and their like game dates. So yeah, and we had activities for the whole school, and we even advertised our homecoming dance, which was a lot of fun. I got the chance to go to that, and yeah, I would like want all the kids to go to homecoming because it's like a good opportunity to get closer to your friends as well. Sorry, can you go back to the other slide? We also had JROTC present the color guard. Dance and cheer performed, amazing performances. We love our dance and our cheer, supporting our teams at school. We also had band perform the national anthem. It was like last minute for them to perform, so it was like pretty cool. Like they just like did it like really fast, so it was like like they were prepared. So yeah, that was our fall sports assembly, very fun. So our homecoming theme was dancing through the decades. This was because we had our 60th year reunion, so our Spirit Week was based on different decades. So like Monday was, I think, 60s, and then Tuesday 70s, and then like throughout the week it was 70s, 80s, and then Friday we just usually do Crazy Spirit, so we wear red and green. We had a parade around the school that included all of the fall sports and their club floats. So as you can see, there's like a picture right there of us like in the middle of the night, late, doing last minute things, working on our float, and then yeah, it was like, I don't know, it's like just so fun like to go around the school with like everybody, and people who live around there, like they would come out and like see what was going on. So it's like a chance to get our community to come together as well. And then to get everyone to come together for our homecoming football game, which is like pretty big. I'm pretty sure it's pretty big in a lot of schools. So we had tailgating. So we have our class of 23 right there. We sold tacos, which was pretty big. Like, tacos are good, so a lot of people are gonna go. So it was a good idea from one of our class president, Jarlette. It was a good idea from her. And then there's a picture there of us like wearing pink to help support Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So we want to support a lot of things that go on. And then you can see two of our club members are pied in the face. People were running up on each other, just pieing each other, you know. Yeah. And then, so for our homecoming, we had like each corner like decorated as like a decade. So we had like a 90s and 80s and 60s. You know, it was pretty cool. Each class had like their own like corner. So, and then our homecoming royalty winners are down there. And then, yeah, homecoming was like a stressful week, but we got there, and yeah, it was fun. So, and then we had our 60th year reunion, which was like so cool to see all of the alumni who came, like class of '65. Like I didn't think that like it was like that like long ago, you know. It's just like, and it was like it was like so cool to like talk to them, and like as you guys know, you guys are alumni from like Phoenix Union District, so it's just like cool to come back to the campus and see the changes that have occurred and stuff. Just like, I don't know, it's just like so cool. We gave them tours around the campus. They were like, oh, like dang, like I didn't know that was there. A lot has changed, so they were just really like impressed about the changes that have happened. So for our 60th year reunion, we had a celebration and invited students from the past graduating classes to visit each other and the new campus. There was tour, clubs, activities provided, and they even had a ceremony. So you could see Dr. T with one of the alumni. She was like really excited for this reunion, so it was pretty cool. And then we had clubs come out and dance performed too. We were there at like 7 a.m. I was a little tired, but yeah, it was like a great opportunity, so I'm like glad I was a part of it. So yeah, go Lions, class of '65. So we also had senior sunrise, and this is like a tradition like every year to have. It was like great. We provided music, food, activities for the seniors, and just like being with my friends like that early was like, it was fun. Like you like don't think that it's gonna be fun like in the morning, but like you have to make it fun. So yeah, and it was like pretty cool to see the sunrise, go up with them, and like I had to wake up at like 4 a.m. to go get donuts for them. So yeah, I don't think I tried them, but yeah, they had donuts, and yeah. So that was for the class of 23. And then we, unfortunately, I wasn't able to go because student athlete. I had volleyball. So we had a spirit conference we attended at Maryville High School. And well, I've gone to conferences before, and like I know that they're so much fun. And conferences are all about building like new leadership skills and like getting to hang around like new people that you like don't think that you would come with. And like you never realize how similar like people in Stugo are. Because like until you meet them, like that's what I've realized, that like you feel yourself with people who like are the same, and just like dang, like you really get me, you know, like. And that's what I really like about Stugo, that you have people who understand you and are like similar to you. So, and like a lot of kids around school like think that like it's just like a club, but it's like really more than a club. So it's like my family, you know. I'm thankful to be a part of Stugo and to have like these amazing people as my members, and for my Stugo sponsor, Ms. Daniel, shout out to her for always being so great and supporting us on like all of our ideas and stuff that we have. So yeah, this was the Stugo conference, and we'll be attending many more after that. And then upcoming events. We have an Alhambra Community Winterfest going on in December 17th. So it's pretty exciting. Mr. Lopez, you better be there. Where you at? And yeah, so to get our community together, we also wanted to do this Winterfest for our clubs to have the opportunity to like fundraise, and to like make money and stuff. We also have a clothing drive and penny award donations coming up. I'm like really excited for the penny award donations for that to go on around school and see how it goes. And then we have another district conference, and then we have the state convention coming up, which is pretty exciting. If I go, I'm excited to see my friends from camp, because I attended a camp that's like part of that. So I'm excited for that. And we also have our winter and spring sports assemblies coming up. So excited for that, especially because I'm a part of like a lot of teams. So it's like cool to talk about it. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I love going to my school. Honestly, it has changed a lot since my freshman year, and I like wouldn't go to any other school. Like you think about it, and you're just like no, like this is my school, and I'm glad to be like a part of that and help like lead others in wanting to come to school, and think that Alhambra is a good place to be at, because it really is. And yeah, sorry I say yeah a lot. But yeah, thank you so much for listening to what I had to say and representing my school. Very much appreciated. I feel like it's easy to talk to you guys because you guys feel like you guys are like a family here. So yeah, because I was sitting there nervous, but I was like, oh, like they're like talking to each other like it's nothing, so why can't I? You know? But yeah, thank you. Oh yeah, and the next presentation will be a recording from Desi Dorada's student body secretary, Angel Vizcarra. So
Perfect. Excellent. I think a board member too wanted to make a comment before we show the video, so hold on.
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, Ms. Ross.
I'm like almost speechless. Like, I love your presentation. I love how
Thank you.
authentic you are. I love how open you are. I love it. Like, you're just like sharing. Now I'm saying like, you were sharing just like, I'm doing it again. You were sharing a lot, and I love it. And I wanted to be there with you as you were explaining something. Like, you did what? And you had to wake up at what time? So you did a really, really good job. I just wanted to tell you that.
Thank you.
And I'm glad you were not nervous, and I'm glad we made you feel comfortable. And please come back and speak to us
Thank you.
again.
I felt like I was speaking a lot. Like I needed to make it short, but like I wanted to give you guys the experience I had. So, but thank you so much. Appreciate it. I'll be back soon.
Okay.
Thank you. Have a good night.
We will now play Desidera's slides with Angel's voiceover.
So I'm just hoping Mr. Lopez shows up at Alhambra Lions with a bunch of pennies with you. He's going to show up.
We're good.
Thank you, Cassandra. I am Angel Vizcarra, and I am the Secretary for Student Government at the Desi program. The mission at DESI is to empower students to become socially and emotionally skilled young people who see themselves as successful, productive, independent citizens. SUGO supports this by creating a fun and engaging activities that help students feel successful, supported, and unified. This year so far, we have multiple opportunities to work towards this goal. Our advisories are called houses, and we have weekly house competitions to encourage unity and team building. This includes a spirit week with daily house competitions. We also have created a board to celebrate our 2023 graduates and our students on the highest level of success. We have had several community service projects this year so far. In August, we hosted a blood drive. In September and October, we did 2 events with Believe It I Can Academy. And in October, we also supported at Feed My Starving Children. Thank you for letting me share about our activities and success at Desi Dorada. I appreciate your time and consideration. Have a great evening.
Very nice. Esmeralda, welcome. Will you please provide your report?
Thank you, Angel. My name is Esmeralda Guerrero. I am the student body recorder of Cesar Chavez High School. Good evening. My name is Esmeralda Guerrero. I'm a junior and I'm student body recorder. First, we're going to start off with the fall sports. So we have the CCHS volleyball with the 2022 PXU tournament champions. Next, we have the CCHS football qualified for the 6A state playoffs. Next, we have the CCHS girls golf with the 2022 PXU section champions for the 3rd year in a row, state qualifier for the 2nd year in a row. Lastly, we have the CCHS badminton, the 2022 PXU section champions, tournament champions for the 2nd year in a row. Congratulations to our own Mr. Dofler, one of 3 athletic directors from our state to pass the exam and meet the requirements to become a certified athletic administrator. Congratulations to the CCHS moot court and athletic decathlon. Of the 16th semifinalists in the state, Cesar Chavez represented 11. 4 students advanced to the moot court nationals this year. Won the first place at the PXU academic decathlon scrimmage. Mecha created an ofrenda in the front of our school for Dia de los Muertos. Students and staff were able to add whatever photos and items they wanted to commemorate lost loved ones. CCHS Homecoming 2022 had a successful Homecoming Spirit Week and Assembly in early November, culminated in our Homecoming Dance where we sold over 1,000 tickets, biggest homecoming in CCHS history. Congratulations to our CCHS junior, Bianca Cordona, who was named Miss Indian, PXU 2022-23. Bianca won the title, showing off her writing, speaking, and dancing talents. CCHS Thanksgiving Food Drive. Our Thanksgiving food drive had over 1,169 canned goods and other donated items for Thanksgiving food boxes for our fellow champions. President Obama visited CCHS. Former President Obama visited our school on Wednesday, November 2nd. At this time, I want to thank the governing board for giving us this time to directly report about our success activities and opportunities that are afforded to the students of our schools. Have a good evening.
Thank you. Thank you both so much. We're really happy that you are here with us this evening. The next item is 3B, reports from employee organizations and the Phoenix Union Foundation for Education. Ms. Anastasia Jimenez, CEA.
Hello again. Good evening, Governing Board, President Austin, PXU community. November flew, and I honestly blinked, and we're in December. So, but CEA nonetheless has always remained active. Some big celebrations and updates that we have from this past month. One was the ESP Day. So we recognized our ESP, our educational support professionals, the week of, I believe the date was actually November 16th. But celebrations continued well through that week into the weekend and into the next week as well. So from food trucks to ice cream bars to catered lunches, the love was felt by our ESPs at their sites. So I just wanted to take the time to thank those sites and departments and to the administrators that took this day to heart. Additionally, CEA celebrated our own members through an ESP Day at the Movies event, which was held the Saturday of that week. And approximately 50 plus of our own CEA members and their families joined us and filled up both of our reserve theaters. And we watched Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, and Lyle Lyle Crocodile. So it was a really big success. And so I wanted to give a quick shout out to Dr. Gard and thank you for that idea because it was, we're we're probably going to do it again, just it was so successful. So our members really appreciated the time outside of, our work sites and to actually come together and be social with one another. The next thing I wanted to recognize is the successful rollout of the PBP, the performance-based pay, which was paid out on the November 22nd, November 22nd pay date, and was payable up to that 1,209 of our ESP staff, including our part-timers. So a lot of the time, we don't like to, people don't often think about our part-timers receiving some of the same benefits that our full-time employees do, but this was a move made some years ago, and now moving forward, they are now included in many of our stipends and payments. Additionally, we're now excited to roll out the classified retention pay, which will come on the next pay date, which is December 6th. It was approved back in January by this board, and approximately, I'm sorry, I don't have that number yet, but including our part-time employees, like I noted, are going to be eligible based on criteria in our professional agreement to receive that retention payment as well. So I just wanted to thank you all again for that approval and passing that, because I know our ESPs really appreciate the extra money coming in, especially during the holidays. And as we know, holidays is hard for a lot of our families. And one thing I did missed was we raffled off gift cards as well to our members, so that was another hit. But again, thank you all for making those decisions that really affect the livelihoods of our employees. And then again, keeping with the theme of recognizing our ESPs, this month, CEA would like to bring recognition to our custodial and maintenance staff, so for the month of December. So our custodial and maintenance staff are critical, as we know now, to our communities and schools, to keeping them safe, clean, and healthy. So they're our frontliners when preventing the spread of illnesses and various infections such as COVID-19. And as we know, probably now more than ever, our cleaning practices and our habits have changed or adapted. And so our custodial and maintenance staff have been the first in leading those practices. And so our PXU custodial maintenance staff don't just include custodians, but that also includes groundskeepers, building maintenance workers, campus facility supervisors, and campus operation workers. So the duties of our classified custodial and maintenance staff vary and can include tasks such as ensuring efficient energy usage and practices are being made, proper ventilation in our buildings, and addressing miscellaneous repairs, and much more when it comes to keeping our schools functioning properly through healthy and quality standards. So on behalf of the association, to all our custodial and maintenance ESPs, we see you and thank you for showing up every day before the sun rises and after it's set. Your dedication and commitment to our district and communities is critical and endless, and we appreciate you. Thank you. And lastly, I like to end my reports with quick thank yous and shout outs. So first, I wanted to shout out our talent and finance and payroll teams for being able and working through those payments made to our employees on time and successfully. And then I also wanted to thank again, as I do each governing board meeting, our student and safety committee members. So again, for your time, commitment, and I'm really hopeful to see what the next engagement pieces of that committee look like. And then again, to the community that's listening in, I know it's a bit, it's past my bedtime if I'm being honest, but it's a bit late, but thank you for listening in. We appreciate you being here. And then lastly, to our governing board, thank you for those who have served us, whether it was for, didn't know it was for more than one term, so whether it was for 2 or 3 or more. I just wanted to thank on behalf of the association, thank you each for working with us collaboratively and for moving our association forward. And I also wanted to welcome back, Ms. Parra, she's not here, but I wanted to welcome her back to the board as well. And then welcome our incoming members. I look forward to spending some time with each of you in the near future, and I look forward to working collaboratively and progressively as we have in the past to move our district forward. So that's all the pieces I wanted to know. So thank you, unless you have any questions. Have a good night. Awesome, thank you.
Have a great holiday.
Ms. Leticia Avalos?
Good evening, President Alston, governing board members, executive team leaders, Dr. G, and community. I wanted to take the time to introduce Mr. John Doherty. He is our ADA president-elect. He will be sharing our statement on behalf of ADA today, and although short, it is very heartfelt.
Good evening, President Alston, governing board members, Superintendent Guston, and executive leadership team, and PXU community. My name is John Doherty, and as president-elect and as the proud principal of Maryvale High School, I speak here on behalf of the administration tonight. Our association and all the PXU administrators, members Prescott, Vice Mayor Pastor, Supervisor Gallardo, we thank you for your service to our district and for your dedication and passion in serving our families and our learners for this time. We're proud as administrators by all the gains that we've made over the last several years. We also want to welcome our new board members and thank them for choosing to serve. And we wish you all success during your tenure on the board. The ADA would like to share that over 70% of our membership has joined a committee in the IBN process. And we are very proud of the administrators and their willingness to participate in the process as we continue to build leadership capacity among our membership. Again, thank you all for your leadership. We look forward to a collaborative relationship with our new and continuing board members. Thank you.
Thank you.
Happy holidays.
Dr. April Coleman.
She's virtual.
She's what?
Virtual.
Ah.
Good evening, everyone. Hopefully you can hear me. President Alston, governing board members, Dr. Guston. I wish I could be there in person with you tonight, but I am at the National Council of Urban Education Associations Fall Conference in Salt Lake City, where we are discussing best practices for developing and maintaining high-quality teaching, learning, and working environments in public education. I want to thank you in advance for approving the recent salary and benefits package that is before you tonight. To Supervisor Gallardo, Vice Mayor Pastor, and Member Prescott, thank you for your leadership, your commitment, and your service to Phoenix Union. Please know that I look forward to us working together in the future on other service-minded and, innovative spaces in support of great public education. So I need to switch gears for a minute because I want to address statements that were made at the November board meeting and to provide clarification about the Classroom Teachers Association. At last month's meeting, there were comments made about the quote-unquote teachers union. Those comments came as a complete shock to many people who were in the room and who were listening online. So for the record, the Classroom Teachers Association is a recognized bargaining unit representing certified employees. And at no time has anyone operating in his or her official capacity as a representative of this association participated in any of the activities that were described at last month's meeting. There is one official and duly elected spokesperson for the Classroom Teachers Association, and that is its president. The president can authorize and has authorized other members to speak and or act on behalf of the association. And at no time during this administration has anyone been authorized to act in a manner as was described in the November meeting. Every employee in this district and every member of the PXU community has a right to address this governing board during public comments. This includes members of the Classroom Teachers Association. When members speak at public comment, they are speaking as individuals unless otherwise noted. Should there be any concerns about acts of the association, there are processes and procedures for escalating those concerns. And we would hope that they would be brought to either the superintendent or to me as the current CTA president. Behaviors have been attributed to the quote unquote teachers union. And I am here to clarify that that definition of the teachers union does not include the Phoenix Union High School District Classroom Teachers Association, or any members who have been authorized to act or speak on its behalf. Now, having said all of that, I wish you all a very safe and happy holiday season, and I am looking forward to the great work that we will do in the new year on behalf of everyone who calls Phoenix Union home. Are there any questions or comments?
Thank you.
Happy holidays.
Okay. Thank you.
Madam President, just real quick, thank you, Dr. Coleman, for all your advocacy and work. I am familiar with the comments that were made, and unfortunately, things are said at times where, I'll go ahead and say it, I didn't take those as accurate comments, and I know the great work that the association does. I've always said this, and I will continue to say this, the stronger the associations, the stronger the school district. And when you have great leadership that are representing our employees collectively, you have my ears, and I know I speak on behalf of this entire board. We want to hear from the associations, and we want to continue to work. I know I'm leaving, but I'm sure that the members that are coming in and this board would want to continue to work with the associations, because that's what makes Phoenix Union so great. We have strong associations. I see school districts, and I work with many school districts that don't have this type of associations representing their employees, and I see the struggles. And so when you have strong associations, the stronger the school district, and I appreciate everything the associations do.
Thank you. Ms. Laura Taylor from the foundation.
Right. President Alston, governing board members, Dr. Geston. The Phoenix Union Foundation for Education is busy. You could find us at the, this is the slide for the, there we go. We are on the move in the community. We were at the Be a Leader event at the Space Park on October 23rd. And 3 days earlier, our scholarship application opened up on October 20th. This is a big change. In the past, those scholarship applications haven't opened until January 1st. So we've been working with ACF and on a lot of different things on both our parts on how we can improve our whole process. And so it was really great at that event to be able to tell students that came to the booth that this scholarship application is open right now. You can go on and apply right now. And ACF was next door to us at that event. And so we talked further. And since it was open just 3 days prior, we already had 8 students at that time go on and start an application. Can you go back there we go. Can you go back to the first slide? The next event that we went to was the Expo on November 5th at Phoenix College, and see our pretty new tablecloth. That same day I went over to the College Depot for their educational resource open house at the library. Then just on October 8th, right after that event, there were 82 applications that had been started. And before Thanksgiving, there were 288 scholarships that had been started. And so we have involved a lot of people in this. This is no longer a counselor job to encourage students to fill out the application. Our goal is to have all the seniors fill out an application for scholarships. And so that involves a lot of people, the teachers, the principals, the athletic directors, and the counselors all are aware of this process, and that we really want to encourage everyone to not just start them, but to complete them. So that's our role right now, that we get all these scholarships that have been started to be finished by January 20th. That's the due date. Because we are expecting many, many more scholarship applications to be completed. We also have a need for scholarship readers, those who will be, who evaluate the scholarships, read them, evaluate, and score them. And we provide all the work for that. These two pictures show you what's on our website for the scholarship application as well as the readers. So if you are so inclined, or if you know someone who might want to do that, a short volunteer stint of reading these wonderful applications and scoring them, let me know. That it's a short period from January 26th to February 6th where we'll be evaluating all the scholarships and giving them a score. We do have some events coming up. The Hall of Fame induction ceremony is going to be December 20th at the Desert Diamond Arena. There are 27 new inductees this year, and we expect between 250 to 300 family and friends in attendance for that event. The gala dinner event is back. All right, so it's going to be February 3rd at the George Washington Carver Museum and Cultural Center. And much like the past events, this will include a silent auction, a live auction, student performances, the awards recognition, and a really big thank you to our sponsors. You will be receiving your official save the date tomorrow. I know that Dr. Coleman shared our most recent mini grant awardees at the last board meeting. And all our mini grants can be found on our website on the mini grants page. But this process that has been enhanced is going really, really well. And so the next opportunity for mini grants is January 9th. Right now, even though their projects are still continuing, we're beginning to get some progress reports from last semester's mini grant awardees, and got a couple to show you. At Trevor Brown, the student, Matt Burke, put in an application for robotics. And in the pictures, the next slide shows the pictures of the students hard at work here. One of their first objectives was to disassemble last semester's robots and take inventory, find out if anything was missing, put in a request for replacement parts. And he said that they struggled putting them back together. That was the next assignment, was to put them back together, but nobody took pictures or took notes, so that was a little more difficult to do that. They had to read the builder's packets to get that together. They're working on the mechanical aspect, the electrical aspect, and right now they're working on the computer to do some coding skills and be able to operate them remotely. There's another project at Bioscience that Milton Johnson put in a request for, and for a STEM maker. And this is for his engineering class, where they are using the electronic kits to do basic circuit training as well as coding skills. He's also going to be using this in the science club so that younger students can also learn these aspects. So more to come on the mini grants, but it's really, like I said, it's going well, and it's an exciting time when we get that many applications in and are able to award them. Let's see. Okay. Oh, our campaign. All right. We are raising $400,000 is our goal. Because we want to award more scholarships, we want to award more mini grants, we know we have to raise some big money to be able to do that. So we are focusing on our teens campaign and our alumni for a larger number of smaller gifts, smaller donations. And we know that it's vital that we also improve in our annual sponsors. So being able to get sponsorships at higher levels and increase our number of sponsors. For our sponsors, we have created redone our benefits grid, and we've added some things to it. So now we have a menu of events, and it goes up incrementally with each level of annual sponsorship, so that it's 1 event, 2 event, 3 event, depending on where a sponsor falls in line. And those events do include the Foundations Golf Tournament, the Hall of Fame Golf Tournament, the Teacher Appreciation Bowling event, and of course the gala dinner. We also added this year that where we hope that our sponsors do see this as a value and benefit to them is to now that each level of annual sponsor will have a named scholarship. And so that will also increase incrementally depending on where they fall into line. So if you have any connections or ideas of companies that are destined to support the foundation and the school district, please let me know. Any questions? All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. The next item on the agenda is 4A, call to the public. Presentations tonight are limited to a maximum of 2 minutes. According to ARS 38-431-01H, at the conclusion of the call to the public, members of the public body may respond to criticism made by those who address the public body. They may ask the staff to review a matter or may ask that a matter be put on a future agenda. However, members may not discuss or take legal action on matters raised during an open call to the public unless the matters are properly noticed for discussion and legal action. I would like to caution members of the audience about commenting on a particular individual and to thank you for not referring to any person by name. Tonight we have the option for members of the public to participate in person and virtually. We will start with our speakers who registered online. We have 2 requests to speak virtually. Please state your name, indicate the agenda item or topic you wish to speak about, and limit your presentation to 2 minutes.
Thank you, President Alston. I have the names with me. I will go ahead and say the name of the first person to come up and then also state the next person in line. First up, excuse me, Michael Buster, if you can come to the podium and speak, you have 2 minutes. Following Michael will be Brielle Giesman.
Hi, thanks for your attention and your time. I wanted to start this evening on a ironic note. Is this working? Okay. I wanted to thank our Phoenix Union High School students for single-handedly solving the problem of large classroom sizes. Just this morning, I was able to provide individualized attention to 7 high school seniors, at least for the first 5 minutes of class. Just this morning, a colleague of mine at Central High School was able to provide individualized attention to 6 high school juniors to their first period of the day. Now, granted, at the end of my seniors class, 13 more students trickled in before the period was over, and 10 others never showed up. I used irony at first to start tonight because I and hundreds of teachers are desperate. I'm not mad at these students, at least most of the time. I'm worried about their futures. Check my emails that I sent you all. The situation where half or more of the students in each of my classes arriving tardy or not at all to my classes is dire. This is still an issue at Central, at Carl Hayden, at Trevor Brown, and at many of our other campuses. You know where this isn't a crisis. One of our ordinary campuses, Cesar Chavez High School, where Mr. Robert Grant, a leader greatly lauded by his teachers, has made attendance and discipline a priority. If any of you or any of our admin are truly short on ideas, look no further. Mr. Jesse Hoover spoke to you all at October's meeting about this issue. I spoke to you all back in November about this issue. And I'm speaking to you today because thousands of our students who may never get noticed or applauded by their campuses or this district need you. Thousands of students who don't have the structure they need at home need our admin to provide structure and discipline that students can actually learn from that school.
Thank you, Mr. Buster. Next speaker will be Brielle Giesman. Following Brielle will be Juliet Davis.
Good evening. Is it on? Yep. Good evening, President Alston, governing board members, Dr. Geston, and PXU community. My name is Brielle Giesman. I'm a third-year teacher at Alhambra. This evening, I will speak about I-Day. I'm here advocating on behalf of our students. It's often remarked how challenging the profession of teaching is. One of the biggest challenges is finding the time to dedicate to the professional responsibilities that are not student-facing when we spend 6 to 7 of our 8 contract hours actively giving instruction. In the other 1 to 2 hours, our time is filled to the brim with essential, impactful professional responsibilities like connecting with families about academic, behavioral, and attendance progress, giving meaningful feedback on student work, creating instructional materials that are up-to-date and engaging, and working with colleagues to discuss the data that drives instruction, to name a few. I-Days, which began in the 21-22 school year, felt like for the first time, PXU educators were given the time to effectively address those responsibilities, many of which are research-backed, district-wide initiatives that we know will improve student achievement and well-being. As a result of this embedded time within contract hours on a weekly basis, many teachers made incredible strides in their work, and students and families directly benefited. On Monday, my colleagues and I received a communique sharing a new set of expectations of I-Day. After 3 hours allotted for meetings in the morning and 2.5 hours for student interventions in the afternoon, the new I-Day schedule leaves us with a meager hour and 15 minutes of time to squeeze in the rest. I would argue that the aforementioned duties would create a much larger impact in student achievement than the I-Day interventions. This initiative feels well-intentioned but out of touch with reality. I know PXU wants to be an effective model of combating the teacher shortage. That is why I ask that the district shows a deeper investment in I-Days, because I-Days are a direct investment in our students. Conduct a survey for all staff and students to better understand what we need to better support our students. Tonight, I'm sharing with you some of my students' perspectives, which are mature, astute, and compelling. We will tell you what is needed to be effective if you...
Thank you, Ms. Giesman.
Ms. Ross?
Dr. G, will you implement a process of collecting some survey data about what students and staff think would be the best use of an I-Day?
President Alston, noted, please.
Next speaker is Juliet Davis. Following Juliet will be Eve Harmon.
Good evening. I'm here with Eve Harmon, and we would like to first say that we really appreciate the privilege of being able to speak here and have our board members listen to us and care about what we have to say. Our goal here is to express concerns for the current and the future school system that we have in our district. While we completely understand this has been a tough year, and we completely understand and feel supported by our district as you guys are trying to help support your students, we still feel as if there's problems arising on different campuses that are affecting the quality of our education. Through networking with multiple different students on different campuses, we realize that they feel as if our academic standards are being lowered, as well as behavioral issues are occurring on each campuses. This is at a staggering rate, and we see and we have observed that many students are actually being discouraged from taking, staying in, or even trying higher level classes, as well as they're being discouraged from staying in regular classes due to failure rates and non-passing rates. We would like to see an encouragement in staying in regular level classes or even trying higher level classes and putting more attention on our AP level classes or dual enrollment or honor level classes. We are seeing and observing that a lot of freshmen come into our campus with the idea that they can fail and essentially still graduate with a diploma through ingenuity classes. We see with an increase of ingenuity classes, it hinders a student from their full potential. We completely understand that ingenuity can help students, given their situation, achieve an academic diploma. However, we realize and we've observed that that a lot of students are graduating with a high school diploma, however, not meeting adequate skills to suffice in pursuing their academic career. And we would like more support in being able to understand the content, as well as we want to help our teachers feel supported. Sometimes we feel as if our teachers have to take class time away because they're not being properly supported by security, and they have to deal with consequences for students alone.
Thank you, Juliet.
Thank you.
Next speaker will be Eve Harmon. Following Eve Harmon will be Randy Schiller, former governing board member.
Good evening. I am a student at a Phoenix Union school, and with these given issues that Juliet has given, I'm here to provide possible solutions that we have created, even though we understand that we might not know the district policies that are set in place or the steps or the necessary steps that it takes to achieve student success. One is to install more security on campus and heavier consequences. Students are not held accountable for their actions, and this isn't really helping them achieve student success. This causes them to continually be defiant with knowledge that there are no consequences. Therefore, implementation of more security and higher consequences would act as admonition to all of the student council. This also creates a support system for teachers, so it's not only on their shoulders to discipline students. We also request a change in district policy to support students through challenging decisions instead of discouraging them. Students are often discouraged when they want to take a more challenging course, such as AP, under the impression that they might not perform as efficiently. This also causes the student to believe that they couldn't do well in that course. Ingenuity shouldn't be promoted to all grades, only seniors, because hindering all access to ingenuity would make the students apply more effort to their academics instead of relying on credit repair to get them by. Other school districts with a different demographic have higher expectations as well as standards for their students, and most of that is because they are not highly minoritized. Though it's understood that this district being less expecting of their students is a way of empathizing with their situations of low income, it's also hindering our opportunity to be the best of ourselves that we can be.
Thank you, Eve. Dr. Geston, can you look into some of the issues described here and provide a report back to the board? Thank you. Board Member Randy Schiller. Following Randy will be Kaya Bixby. And just so you know, for folks who are giving public comment, we as the board are listening. We greatly appreciate all public comment. Unfortunately, due to state law, we can't directly respond or take action on the issues that you bring to us immediately, but we do greatly appreciate it and we do listen to it. So thank you. Randy.
Thank you. Good evening, Madam President, board members, Dr. G, faculty, everybody here. Hope everyone's having a great night. I'm here to just, as a parent, I have a daughter that goes to Fairfax. I just want to say thank you. No one ever comes in and says thank you, but I just thank you for your hard work. To the staff, the teachers, everybody, thank you for everything you do. I walked out of a board meeting 4 years ago and I thought I would never come back in. I gave it to Nakia, she's done well. But I'm back because these three stooges are getting out of here. So I've got a few things to say. I thought this was a roast for Laura, but I don't see beer or bar, so that's not happening. But Leela, again, congratulations on your win to the Senate. Nikita and Stephanie, congratulations on winning your seats. Aaron, congratulations on being the only man on the board in 30 days. So that's a big thing. Steve, we didn't get to work on the board together, but I worked when I was on the Levine board. You did a lot with Isaac Cerna and I down in the Cache neighborhood, so congratulations for all your hard work. Appreciate that. Stanford, your questionable fashion comment, that was great. When Stanford first got on the board, I was already down to like polos and slacks, and then Stanford came in wearing suits. I had to go buy new suits to compete. It was tough, but a lot of great times at graduations together, Stanford. Appreciate your hard work for the South Mountain community. Laura, when you said that you and Steve went to college, were you a senior and he was a freshman? It was like the give back and walk around a freshman day?
No, we're the same age.
Yeah, okay.
Calling me old?
Laura, you've been great serving the community in many different ways, and you already hinted your drop of you're running for something else. Thank you for that. But just again, appreciate everybody, to the staff in here, to everybody, Merry Christmas. I know that's not correct, sorry. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, whatever you celebrate. Enjoy times with family. I know my grandma's going to make the schnitzel, so that'll be good for us. But just enjoy your time. And again, I just want to say thank you for all you do. Teachers and faculty, thank you for all you do. I know my kid's not easy because she's my kid, so. And by the way, I can leave, so good night.
Thank you, board member, or former board member Schiller. Kaya Bixby, please come to the podium.
Governing board members, exec team, Dr. Gaston, thank you. My name is Kaya Bixby. I wish to address you about items 2 and 8 today. I wanted to say thank you to board members Pastor, Prescott, and Gallardo for your service and advocacy. Witnessing the aspirational leadership of the governing board since I've been part of Phoenix Union is part of the reason that I actually have come to believe, maybe for the first time, in the power of one voice, which is also why I am here to talk to you about item number 8, including the Next Gen Safety and Security Plan. As Phoenix Union staff and employees, our work is, we are the promise to our students and to our community to provide those schools of opportunity that welcome, love, and inspire all of our students. And in those classrooms, a fear of guns and violence is understandable. It's rational. It is not my biggest concern, safety concern on campus. Our students are teenagers. They're by definition impulsive. They may lack the experience to immediately understand the consequences of their actions. I have been on campus to witness the smallest altercation drawing a crowd like a magnet. I've seen students and staff members knocked over intentionally or unintentionally. Before coming to Phoenix Union, I worked for Barrow Neurological Institute for 10 years. I am a parent. I think every parent knows the sound of a head hitting a hard floor. And in our concrete courtyards, an otherwise relatively small event could result in a traumatic brain injury that could be life-changing. And I want to ask you to continue to support having enough people, enough training, enough trained voices to redirect and stem the tide of an event like that before something serious happens. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bixby. And thank you to all of our speakers tonight. It is greatly appreciated when you share your voice. We do listen, and we do really appreciate hearing from all different perspectives, even if we can't respond directly after your comments. So thank you.
Thank you. The next item is 5A, approval of the consent agenda. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda items as presented, and is there a second?
So move.
Second.
A motion has been made by Ms. Pastor, seconded by Mr. Prescott. On the motion, those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, please indicate by saying nay. Any abstentions? The motion carries. The next item is 6A, the superintendent's report. Dr. Gaston, please provide your report at this time.
President Alston, members of the board and Phoenix Union community, my report, much like last month, will be brief and I'll go fast, but I did want to start, and this actually catches on something that Vice Mayor said earlier. We did lose one of our family members this past week. We don't always have a chance to recognize individually loss in Phoenix Union, but this was a very public loss and very heartbreaking loss, and just want to thank everyone in Phoenix Union community for supporting Camelback, but also, as Vice Mayor alluded to, Coach D at Metro Tech High School. I had a chance to speak with him for quite a while earlier this week. And also just want to use this, not just the loss of David, but a lot of loss in our community. And just the reminder that grief is everywhere and resides in our buildings, in our hallways, in our streets, in our households, and to never forget the grief of those around us. I did want to thank all the veterans in Phoenix Union. We celebrated Veterans Day. Thank you to Board Member Marquez. And actually, I did not mention this earlier, but Signa Oliver, our new board member, is also a veteran. So we'll have 2 veterans on our board. Thank you to all who have served and sacrificed. It was also ESP Day. Anastasia alluded to this earlier, but to the nearly 1,500 ESPs that make Phoenix Union possible every day. Thank you for your service. It is also School Psychology Week. Took place last month. Phoenix Union is a national leader in wraparound services, and school psychology is a part of our wraparound. And thank you to our school psychologists. We also brought back Expo in person for the first time in a few years, so thank you to everyone who participated and engaged, and to our marketing team, and to our campuses, and to Phoenix College for being an incredible host. We also had one of our, I think one of our greatest events of the year, our employee milestone celebration, where we recognize employees' years who hit 5-year milestones, and recognized employees with 5 all the way through 40 years of service. And thank you to talent and marketing and all involved. And thank you to Central High School, who is probably sick of us hosting events at their campus in every way. And we apologize in advance. We'll continue to do that. Also, just wanted to recognize a couple of athletic teams. First of all, Central High School's team was 9-1 this year, and was an incredible success story. We also had 2 other teams have incredible years. Cesar Chavez High School, in a very difficult division, made it to the playoffs. They did not get out of the first round. And Carl Hayden Community High School, who, as you know, broke national records for not being good at football, actually now was the regional champs. And so a huge congratulations to Carl Hayden, who, give him a round of applause. And the head coach and the assistant coach are the sons of former executive member Jose Arenas. And so they're doing incredible work there. Also, one of Board Member Prescott's favorites, Academic Decathlon. In fact, he's there in the picture. Thank you so much, sir, for continuing to support Acadec. And once again, congratulations to Cesar Chavez on finishing first. Metrotech Pharmacy actually had one of the greatest pharmacy programs in Phoenix Union, and they had a chance to have an open house and really promote the future of pharmacy in our country. And then also wanted to thank and congratulate Lorenzo Cabrera for his continued service. He gave the He made Vice Mayor a graduate of Franklin tonight. That was cool. There you go. He's got the diploma in the back. But he was also just given an award by MCSO for his amazing service to the firefighting community. So congratulations, Lorenzo, on that award. And then just a few final thoughts for you all. Board, just know that we are working on a 2023 bond proposal for the governing board. It has been that many years where it's time to think about the next bond. We're doing bond planning. We'll do a climate survey, and we'll do a presentation soon to the board about what the community thinks about Phoenix Union, the potential of a bond, what would go in that bond, and would anticipate bringing to the board approval or consideration of a bond package in April of this year. And then did just want to note a couple more things. One, COVID, it never went away. It was always there. It was not as severe, but it's back. And so, number one, be careful, be safe. Number two, rest assured, Phoenix Union is revisiting all of our safety and mitigation protocols, from sanitizing, making sure masks are readily available, COVID testing, as well as COVID vaccines, and even hosted another event at our expo. And want to thank all of those involved in ensuring that we are staying ahead of the game and being serious about COVID and health and safety. We also gave away more money to our employees. That's a great thing, performance-based pay and retention pay. And we always try to time those as best as we can around the holiday season when things get really expensive. And then thank you to the governing board members and the broader community for your support of our turkey drives. Many of you on the board gave away and contributed. We see some pictures up here. I know that we saw also pictures, she's not here tonight, of board member Para, who gave away turkeys and resources to all the schools in her ward. But again, thank you to the governing board and our broader community for your support. And thank you to those who contributed to the United Way this year. They're a critical partner. I'm fortunate to serve on the board of the United Way, and Phoenix Union nearly doubled its contributions this year. And so for us to already be in the service industry and continue to give more money and resources to serve our community, I am and we are very grateful. And with that, that's my report.
Any comments? Mr. Prescott?
Thanks, all. It's my last board meeting, so I'm going to ask lots of questions and but
It's only 20. He warned me, Laura. Don't worry, it's not. Yeah.
I do want to. One thing I will note. The academic decathlon tournament. The thing that actually struck me. So first off, Cesar Chavez got first place. Maryville also had third and actually got first in Super Quiz. And very strong win for Maryville. Go Panthers. But I think the thing that stuck with me were the individual subjects. There was a certain charter school there that is well known for their test scores, who will remain unnamed. But they got almost all the medals in math and economics. But literally, when it came to any other subject, it was Phoenix Union students got all of the best individual scores. So art, music, speech, essay, language and literature, science, those were where our kids excelled. So obviously, we want to teach math and economics. Those are very important, and we should be looking for ways to improve that instruction. But I think the thing that stuck out to me is that even in these charter schools who are known for their high math test scores, our students are still better at speaking and writing and reading and those other key essential skills and leadership qualities.
Nice. The next item is 7A, the 2021-22 Phoenix Union Achievement and State Letter Grade Overview. Dr. Geston.
Madam Chair. I would like to continue item 7 for the new board. I know it's coming from me, who has been asking for academic achievement. However, it is now 8:51, and we still have a lot more to get through, and we still have a cake to cut. So the new board can take on the academic achievement. Those that are here can advocate for us, and I would like to make the motion to continue it to January.
Do you have perfect attendance?
No, but I'm asking Stanford, is the perfect attendance guy to second.
I have to second? Second.
Okay, a motion has been made to continue item 7A, the Phoenix Union Achievement and State Letter Grade Overview, to the January meeting. Mr. Prescott, would you like to? I think the motion's been made by Ms. Pastor and seconded by Mr. Prescott. Mr. Prescott, would you like to speak to
Yes,
that motion?
I want to thank the admin team for putting this together, so please greatly appreciate all the work on it. Dr. Guest, I just wanted to check, this is again a request from some of the other board members. Is there any, I know some presentations were required by law to give by a certain date. Does that apply at all to this? Does it make sense to postpone to January? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, President Alston, members of the board, a couple things. One, not a requirement for us to give this presentation tonight. And in terms of our thoughts, we're supportive either way. Achievement's important, obviously. We talk about that all the time. We did send the presentation to the board ahead of time, so even if we don't cover it tonight, you do have access to that information. We could certainly share that with the public online. I would say if in fact you guys make a motion to move it to next month, I think we do so very clearly, and I know this is what Vice Mayor means. We do so because we're not minimizing the importance of achievement. That we also know that the next board, it's going to be theirs, and what does achievement look like? And so I think a little bit of mixed emotions on the motion, but I do think that as long as the message is clear, achievement's important, and it's also going to be owned by the next board as well as this team. Then we'll leave it to you all to decide.
Ms. Pastor?
So one that ran on achievement and accountability, that's what made me join the board. This would probably be this would be a discussion, and a deep discussion, where I think we would go into longer than 15, 20 minutes. I think it's an important discussion. However, there's 3 of us leaving. And so my impact is not going to make a difference as the new board will make a new impact. And so I think it's if we want to have the discussion, that's fine. But I think my point is, let's move it to the new board. I think we're going to get into a deep discussion. If we want to do that, that's great. We will be here till 11 o'clock. I think administrators want to go home. I want to go home. I have to leave early tomorrow morning, and I want to celebrate my 12 years with people that are still here. So call it selfish, but I think it's important. This is important, but I think January and the new board should take it on.
Anything else? Okay, on the motion, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed indicate by saying nay. The motion carries.
And
Mr. Prescott.
And just one last thank you to the administration team for putting this together, and the critical data within.
The next item is 8B, discussion of school safety, health, and wellness, including the Phoenix Union Next Gen Safety and Security Plan with potential action. Dr. Geston.
President Alston, members of the board, we will also try to make this brief. I will turn it over to Thea Andrade, our Chief Achievement Officer, who will actually give this update this month in Claudio Correa's absence tonight.
Okay, good evening, President Alston, members of the board. Just going to review some of the...
Thea, will you make sure your mic's on or close enough?
I'm usually loud. Is that good? Okay. I'm going to go ahead and review the monthly slides that Mr. Correa typically does. And we're going to start off with the expenses. Again, you'll see the typical chart for expenses. This month was a little bit higher than it has been in previous months. I just want to call out our stellar performance in football and basketball as one of the factors, being more games and playoffs. And then, of course, more officers being available on standby secured for us during the day, during the school day. So that is the total monthly expense. Moving on, just giving some safety updates. Our teams, our campus and district level teams are hard at work, boots on ground really, visiting each of the campuses for a site assessment. They come onto the site, they listen to the concerns, they walk as a team, address any immediate concerns, make a plan for those medium-term concerns, and then, of course, are listening and documenting and budgeting for some long-range projects and strategic plan issues. Most of the issues come up around cameras, and some of them can be easy fixes like angles. Some may require a tree be cut so that view isn't blocked, and others are outright blind spots where we need new cameras installed. A lot of concerns about parking lots, and those of you that work on campuses and needn't say more, and traffic flow. So those also have medium, more security, whether that's private security or our own security as an immediate. We have medium-term and, of course, long-term structural changes for our parking lots and access to those. really, our teams are documenting most of this, and preparing for a summer safety audit with the City of Phoenix Police and Fire. They come on once about every 4 to 5 years, where they'll do a comprehensive safety assessment, and we'll get even more feedback.
We're not voting on this.
Phoenix Governing Board Student Safety Committee, just want to go ahead and bring some updates there. The work continues to move forward with GCI as our guiding document and cornerstone for our discussions. Community engagement plan is well underway. We're really trying to be as inclusive as possible with our student, staff, family, and community, hard-to-reach families, and offering both an in-person as well as an online ability to give feedback. They're taking a regional approach, and the first session is coming up here Saturday, December 10th. And you can see there's a morning session and an afternoon session to be as accessible as possible. The surveys are available and will be available on the 10th of December. Do want to say that there's a comprehensive marketing plan that has gone out to, they will be going out around social media, different handles, emails, school messenger. We're going to drop information into Teams for our students. Each of the committee members gets a social media toolkit so they can promote these events. And I would just encourage everyone here to continue to encourage your staff, your students, your families, your community to attend one of these and let their voices be heard. And that concludes our safety update. If there's any questions, otherwise, I'll turn it back to you, Dr. Geston.
Excellent. President Alston, members of the board, any discussions or questions for us?
Mr. Prescott?
Thank you, President Alston. So 2 things on school safety. One, I've said this in a couple meetings, but I'll just reiterate it. Again, I'm going out of the board, so this will be up to the new board, but I do just want to reiterate, I think the importance of just increasing the number of security personnel on staff, safety personnel that are not law enforcement is critical. That was something we heard at the podium here tonight. That was something we've heard previously. Second, the other question I really want to ask is around the safety PB process that was established in 2020, the status of that, where it is, has the vote been conducted, and what types of resources need to be provided by the board to support.
President Alston and Board Member Prescott, I will quickly respond to the first question, and I know Thea and/or Alyssa are going to respond to participatory budgeting. First, in terms of increasing number of people on campus, as you all know, we sent you a spreadsheet kind of pricing what that looks like. Our team continues to talk about that, what's the right ratios and the right amount of investment, and we will, when we get to a decision, at least bring a recommendation to the board to increase. So that is certainly high on the radar. And then in terms of PB, I'll turn it over to either Thea or Alyssa. I can attest that actually earlier this week in exec team, we talked about PB and how do we try to wrap a bow on a very challenging long process. So we actually talked about this on Wednesday, but either one can come address where we're at and where we plan to go.
Is it on? Thank you, President Alston, governing board members, Dr. Geston, Clerk Prescott, thank you for that question. Actually, we had just revisited that conversation. Well, it never actually goes away. So I think I'll put it in a couple of buckets. So one, so we have had a comprehensive list of items that were lifted by the student group, the parent group, and the staff group. And so as we ended last year, those groups that had promoted had made Shark Tank videos and whatnot. And so we brought an expert team together right as we were approaching graduation. And so one piece of it is that one of the approaches, if Cindy Tercero were here tonight, she'd say we always try to find out how we can say yes in more ways than saying, you know, that you have to go to vote and someone loses. And so there are a number of items that we actually think we're able to do or we're in process of doing that we wouldn't necessarily have to formalize on the ballot. And then there are some very unique items that we've you know, just in terms of time and attention, are trying to make decisions about whether or not they can go on the ballot. And I don't want to do a big giveaway. I mean, there are literally around a dozen or so items, but for example, a safe space on every campus. So what exactly does that look like? So something like peace rooms and really some spaces that some campuses have already made that are areas where students can not that they're necessarily in trouble to de-escalate, but it's more about a self-monitoring situation, almost like a Zen kind of a space. And so with the construction and remodeling and things that we've had on several campuses, another one actually was laundering services. And so that's a whole other unique need that we have. And so being able to work through that. So that's one piece, and I know we can't do that forever. The true answer to the question is that we must vote. We're going to vote before spring break, and really I'd like to tell you January, but I'm going to just say before spring break. The other part is that all semester we've been working with campuses. We realized that, in the post-virtual era, I'll call it, just because of COVID still being alive and well, that our parents, we have not done our job to the extent that we know we need to connect them. So we have an unusual number of parents who are not actually connected to ParentView. We started that process actually in August. And so we actually just sent out, we're doing a big, huge push. It's the end of the semester with report cards and whatnot. Why does that matter? That's going to matter for the parent vote as well. So in uploading emails and phone numbers, we're having a big push through the end of this semester and at the beginning of the semester, so that all those things can be uploaded. We'll start the campaigning for the ballot items in January so that we can vote prior to spring break. So sorry that we haven't done a more formal update for you, but we have the items and we want to do that because they're all wonderful aspects of safety that came up from student, staff, and families.
Just a couple follow-up questions on that. Thank you for that update. I really appreciate it. 2 follow-up questions. Well, a follow-up comment and then 2 follow-up questions. So one, I think if we're still working and we're moving towards a vote, that's great to hear. I'll be honest, you all know PB was one of the big items I introduced. It was in the video earlier. I'm a little concerned about it potentially getting lost in the coming semester, just given all the other priorities our district's working on. And so I'd want to make sure that we have a clear plan to see this particular aspect of it through, get it wrapped up. And I guess building off of that, 2 questions I have. One, you mentioned doing the promotion for the vote. Obviously, the safety committee and the participatory budgeting are 2 separate processes established at 2 separate times. But is there any room for cross-promotion? So for instance, talking about the PB vote at the safety committee, the public hearings, or vice versa, when we send out information about the PB vote, also letting them know about those different surveys and public forums that people can participate in at the committee. One question, and then again, the second question: we've got a great team working on this at the district level, but I know it's a lot of work, and again, there are a lot of other priorities. Does the district need any additional resources, support from the board to make this happen? Either whether that's internal support and resources or partnerships. What kind of support is needed to make sure that this gets done next semester?
For sure. President Alston, members of the board, and Alyssa, you can fill in. So I think a few things I want to try to address quickly. First of all, Alyssa talked about the cross-pollination, like promote one at the other. That's a fantastic idea. And so I saw our heads note. We made a note of that. I think it's a great, at student safety committees, talk about PB. During the PB opportunities, talk about the student safety committee. So that's a fantastic idea. There's a slight overlap in maybe some of the things we've heard in committee and the PB ideas, but noted on that. Number 2, I think your comment about trying to engage parents better and your comment about capacity is in some ways directly related to the next item that we'll vote on tonight, which is, and it's going to be a small vote tonight, and it's a huge victory, which is you're going to hopefully say yes to 3 job descriptions. One is on a communications specialist role it's designed for safety communication. We talked about that earlier, But part of that person's job is going to be to make sure that we have as many parent contact names in our database as possible. So as we're thinking about safety and getting more parent contact information, it's going to help drive this process. And then the other two job descriptions are actually around parent engagement and parent coordination. And once we implement those roles, the position like Cindy Tercero, who's trying to do everything, partially because she doesn't have actual parent liaisons and parent coordinators, implementing those roles, we think will free up the right capacity for Cindy to lead this work long-term. If we think even after implementation, because we're committed to PB long-term, even after you go, we've even said PB could be on other items, like how to improve achievement or how to, really put those ideas in the hands of our students. If we think that the parent coordinators and the improved parent communication isn't working for Cindy, then there are, ASU has wanted to re-engage with us on this work, the participatory budgeting project, so we could just use contracts to help continue this work. And I don't know if there's anything else you feel like. Okay.
I think the more collaboration, the better.
Yeah.
Mr. Marquez?
Yeah, thank you, Board Member Prescott. I know sort of the pure PB process is something you initiated, and you were able to do that around other capital improvements pre-COVID for the school district. I know attempting to conduct participatory budgeting at the onset of COVID when everything was virtual was very different for anybody that has ever advised participatory budgeting process for a community before. And so I wonder if there's a way to respect both processes, but somewhat combine them. Because I think, and you all tell me that we're here when you all decided in the school year before I joined the board, sort of the intent of announcing the participatory budgeting process, but I understood it to come up with alternatives to law enforcement officers on campuses. And I know the team at ASU that has done some research to monitor that participatory budgeting process very similarly created a literature review of alternatives, but they've also been tracking the ideas that have come out of these Zoom meetings when there was, I think at the beginning of the process, a more earnest approach to in trying to get as many people as possible on Zoom. So I know we adopted in August the GCI report as the guiding document for the school safety committee, but unless it takes away from the purity of the original participatory process, I think they're both versions of participatory governance as a school safety committee and a process that's facilitated. So I would be in favor if there's support from the board to try to create that ASU literature review as a secondary guiding document, and seeing, as Dr. Gesson suggests, if there's a way to re-engage the ASU research team and the Center for the Future of Arizona and potentially the participatory budgeting project, so that, come spring break, we, and I know the school safety committee asked to extend through the spring, we're coming up with something for next school year that, and maybe it's good to have both, right? Maybe it's good to have, let the vote go through, and, there'll be a certain pot of money that comes up with these reforms that are following the original process, or, but I think more holistically, I'd like to see the two processes somehow come together.
President Alston, members of the board, and board, feel free to react. So I think a couple of things. One, I do, and Board Member Marquez and I had a chance to meet this week, I do think that ASU document, whether you formally make it a part of that process or not, could be helpful to have that team review, because they did have some great ideas. So I would agree, whether that's formal or informal, that committee should at least take a look at what that document looks like. In terms of combining those two initiatives, my gut reaction would be to keep those two separate, because the participatory budgeting project was about safety without law enforcement, and the committee is actually tasked with the responsibility of actually thinking about the role of law enforcement. So one is safety without, one is how do you navigate law enforcement in. So I'd encourage my reaction would be to keep those separate, but that document could be an informative document for the committee.
I like the idea of bringing in the document and using that where it makes sense. I do think I would encourage keeping them separate as well, just because they have had separate teams of people working on them. So the committee has its committee members, whereas the PB process has had its own student, staff, and parent leaders. And I think if you combined them at this point, where one's already been going for almost 2 years and one's been going for half a year, that you would that it might overwrite the work of those folks that have been genuinely participatory in that. And so I would encourage keeping them separate as they currently are. I think my point about the cross-pollination was just because there is some overlap in topics, is using them as cross-marketing is I guess probably the better word, is an opportunity to promote both at each and build upon that and use those resources where possible.
Ms. Pastor?
I need some clarity. So there's an ASU study on participatory budgeting. Am I correct?
I have not, I know Board Member Marquez has reviewed the report, and he can speak
I haven't
probably
seen it,
closer.
so.
They emailed it to us.
Okay.
And, yeah, they emailed us their research. And it's in our governing board emails.
Oh.
But I haven't had a chance to go through it in detail, but they did do some work on PB and on law enforcement. ASU has a dedicated unit on participatory governance. I
Got
actually
it.
took a class from the professor who helped write the report when I was doing my master's. And so ASU's been involved in a lot of our participatory budgeting, and they've done a lot of studies about it. So the report, to my understanding, is partially a study of our participatory budgeting
Okay.
work, and it's also partially a report on law enforcement options. But I'll let Aaron expand, given that I know he's been closer to the issue.
Yeah, I think the two literature reviews are fairly similar, and the ASU team, described them as, if you're going to do a literature review on what's already been researched across the country around alternatives to law enforcement, and sort of the GCI report is a transition away from law enforcement for school districts, you end up sort of at the same, academic sources that you're going to include in that academic report. And I think and I don't know if that was originally, if they took the initiative to do that on their own, or if there was somehow, through the participatory budgeting project, who sounds like was the prime contractee, and then they subcontracted to the Center for the Future of Arizona at ASU, as I understand it. They did a literature review to say, hey, here's all the academic research that are things school districts could consider that are different than law enforcement. But at the same time, they attended every single Zoom meeting and tracked, the ideas that came from our students, teachers, and parents. And so I think those ideas from the students, teachers, and parents should inform what the school safety committee is thinking about as they think about whatever the next few months of their outreach looks like, and also those documents, because I think it'd be helpful to look at both the GCI report and the ASU literature review.
Yeah, I think. I think so I'm fully in support of providing the ASU document to anybody. ASU's great. I have 3 degrees from them. Sorry, that turned into a weird humble brag. It's late. I would say, again, I'm worried about, and I think if there's relevant data from the PB process that could be provided to the committee, I think that makes sense too. Again, because they were different processes established by the board with different community members involved, I would not want to combine them because I feel that would hurt the integrity of both processes, given that they are so far along. But I think, again, if there's overlapping data that can be provided or overlapping marketing, I think that makes a lot of sense. But I would be worried about, shifting the integrity. I would also say just, in a strict academic sense about participatory budgeting and participatory governance, that they are on different levels of of civic participation, participatory budgeting versus committees. The committee also has a number of nominees that were frankly political nominees. We, as the board, nominated them as elected officials, and so I think that, as opposed to the PB committees where there were no nominations, it was simply community members coming together. And so I do think they may take slightly different views on the issues based on that. And again, I would not want to interrupt the integrity of any of the community members working on this just based on combining them.
I don't know if we need a motion or if this is enough guidance to share back to the school safety committee. But I guess I would support, making any documents that were derived from the ASU research, shared with the school safety committee and allowing them to decide how that may or may not be helpful and however they decided they want to proceed. And then separate, to kind of nod to what you were saying earlier about staffing for participatory budgeting, whether it's, sort of a duty otherwise assigned when one of these jobs descriptions we're about to approve, or if there's a specific job description, if we plan to do participatory budgeting in the future. It seems like that is a full-time dedicated job to do this process well, unless we're going to rely on outside support to facilitate these processes, like the Center for the Future of Arizona or the participatory budgeting project.
Anything else? Ms. Pastor?
Do we need a motion to incorporate or add those findings to, because I think we need to be clear on what we want.
Yeah. So I'm going to propose some motion language based on, I think, what I'm hearing, and feel free to second or amend or whatever. President Alston, I move that the ASU report, as well as any relevant data from the participatory budgeting process, be provided to the School Safety Committee for their review and as appropriate, and that separately, admin also review if any staffing or dedicated partnerships are needed for participatory budgeting moving forward. Does that sound correct?
I'll second.
Awesome.
Okay, is there any question on the motion? You all heard the motion? Did we get it down here? Okay. On the motion, all those, a motion has been made by Mr. Prescott, seconded by Mr. Marquez. On the motion, is there any discussion, further discussion? On the motion, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed indicate by saying nay. The motion carries. Thank you. The next item is 9K, approval of new classified job descriptions, Family and Community Engagement Coordinator, Family Engagement Liaison, and Safety Communications Specialist. Dr. Geston.
All right, President Alston, members of the board, I'll be fast because I just had a chance to talk about this. This is, although a brief vote tonight, these are three really potentially transformative new roles inside of Phoenix Union that will improve communication, especially during safety, as well as family engagement and connectedness. And once we get closer to implementation of this, we'll come back to you with maybe more what this is supposed to look like, what role they could potentially play in participatory budgeting. But we are very excited to bring these to you tonight in our continued efforts to improve parent engagement and communication.
I move 9K.
I didn't hear you, Ms. Pastor.
I made a motion to move 9K, approval of a new classified job description.
Okay. A motion has been made by Ms. Pastor, seconded by Ms. Ross to approve. Is there any further discussion? On the motion, those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, please indicate by saying nay. Any abstentions? The motion carries. The next item is 9L, adoption of economic package for education support professionals for the 2023-2024 school year. Dr. Guest.
President Alston, I saw Vice Mayor wanted to comment.
Oh, no, I would like to move bundle 9L, 9M, and 9N together.
Gonna throw O in there?
You can throw O in there, too.
N-O. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
Will you repeat that?
I would like to place 9L all the way to 9O.
Okay.
She wants to combine those and
Yes,
approve those.
And approve those.
Okay. The motion has been made by Ms. Pastor to combine 9L, 9M, 9M, and 9O. Motion's been made by Ms. Pastor, seconded by Ms. Ross. Is there any discussion?
Yes, Stanford, you're supposed to second every item tonight. I don't know if that's perfect attendance anymore.
That's no, oh, yeah.
I
oh,
literally
take
went
it.
back there and the principals yelled at me for making a motion instead of a second. So, yeah, I'm
Okay.
sorry. I'm deeply sorry to this community.
I'm sorry, President Alston, I was out of order. I apologize for doing that. May I make a comment on this item? So I know this, just really quickly, just so that I know we want to get through this and we're all excited about this, I just want to thank IBN. This is next year's salary and benefits package. And typically, it takes long and it's a fight and it doesn't get to you till in the spring and it's already to you tonight. And so we're very excited to bring to you next year's compensation.
Woo-hoo, money. All right.
Any further discussion? On the motion, all those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed indicate by saying nay.
Woo-hoo.
The motion carries. Any abstentions? Nope. The next item is 9Q, adoption of statement of charges in the matter of employee L. Harder. Dr. Gustin.
Great. President Alston, before we do 9Q, I think as you flip pages, you missed 9P.
Who did I miss?
9P, if you go back a page.
Okay, I
There you go.
did.
Thank you.
Sorry about that. The next item is 9P, adoption of statement of charges in the matter of employee C. Arona. Is there a motion to adopt the statement of charges, and is there a second?
I move 9P.
Second?
A motion has been made to adopt the statement of charges by Ms. Pastor, seconded by Mr. Prescott. Is there any discussion on the motion? Those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, please indicate by saying nay. Any abstentions? The motion carries. Now we'll go to 10T.
No. 9Q.
Sorry, guys.
That's okay.
We did it to you.
The
We
next item is the one I already mentioned, out of order, 9Q, adoption of statement of charges in the matter of employee L. Harder. Dr. Gaston.
President Alston, the reason I asked you to call on it is we are withdrawing this motion. You do not have to vote on this tonight. The employee is in resignation, discontinuance of employment.
Okay. The next item is 10T, approval of the two-year phased medical benefits plan changes beginning the 2023-24 fiscal year. Dr. Gaston.
And I'll be very brief. This was also a part of the big salary and benefits ratification. We just put it as two separate agenda items. This is the two-year phase down, not the four-year phase of medical benefits. And again, never easy to make changes to benefits, but want to thank everyone in finding the right middle ground with benefits changes. We recommend approval.
I move 10T.
Second?
A motion has been made by Ms. Pastor, seconded by Mr. Prescott. Is there any discussion? On the motion, those in favor, please indicate by saying aye. Those opposed,
Aye.
please.
Aye.
Oh, yeah, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, please indicate by saying nay. Any abstentions? The motion carries. The next item is 12B, approval of proposed calendar of governing board meetings for 2023. Dr. Geston.
Board, this is just a formality where you adopt tonight, and then the next board will read those back into record, confirm that in January.
I move 12B.
Second?
A motion to approve 12B has been made by Ms. Pastor and seconded by Mr. Prescott. Is there any discussion? On the motion, those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, please indicate by saying nay. Any abstentions? The motion carries. The next item is 12C, approval of recommendation to expel student 20222304. Is there a motion to approve the recommendation to expel the student identified as 20222304, and is there a second?
I move 12C.
Second?
A motion has been made by Ms. Pastor, seconded by Mr. Prescott. On the motion, those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, please indicate by saying nay.
Nay.
Any abstentions? The motion carries. The next item is 12D, discussion and consideration to nominate retiring Phoenix Union governing board members, Ms. Laura Pastor, Mr. Steve Gallardo, and Mr. Stanford Prescott for the Arizona School Boards Association Honor Roll Award. Dr. Geston.
Yeah. President Alston, members of the board, I would like to thank Board Member Prescott for reminding us that this award existed for incredible board members of 8 or more. I mean that very sincerely. We've been I mean that very sincerely. We've been talking about ways in which Phoenix Union can get more active publicly. As we had a chance to talk to a couple of board members, we thought this was an awesome opportunity to recognize our board members at a state level, and we recommend approval in the process.
I move item 12D.
Is there a second?
You all have to abstain. No, I'm kidding.
A motion has been made by Ms. Pastor, seconded by Ms. Ross. Is there any discussion? On the motion, those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
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 Those opposed, please indicate by saying nay. Any abstentions? The motion carries. The next item,
It's for his absence.
Just for the
his
record,
perfect
I also
attendance.
nominated Pastor and Gallardo for this award and made sure that they got on here as well. So thank you.
Even though we didn't have perfect attendance.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you.
you did a great job, Mr.
Appreciate it.
President.
Thank you so much.
The next item is for information only. No action required. Item 12E, receipt of revised governing board policy regulation, KDBR, the public's right to know, freedom of information. This item is for informational only. No action is required. Receipt of revised governing board policy, the public's right to know, is acknowledged. The next item, 13A, the next regular meeting and the annual reorganizational meeting of the governing board are scheduled for Thursday, January 12th, 2023 at 6 p.m. here in the governing board district office. Item 13B, requests for future agenda items. Members, are there any items you would like to recommend to be considered for future board meeting agendas? Ms. Pastor?
I have one last one, and it's regarding the study session, the Black Focus Group study session with those that did the report. I'm hoping the new board will take that on, and maybe we'll be invited to participate. So that, and then obviously making sure that the achievement and state letter grade overview is heard in January.
Okay, thank you. Item 13C.
Motion to approve.
What?
Motion to adjourn the regular meeting.
That's where I'm getting to it.
We're jumping.
But Mr. Marquez wants to slow things down.
Okay, go ahead,
Mr.
Marquez.
I have to,
What's your issue?
I have to request a few future agenda items. Is that okay, Madam President?
Okay, go. No, now you want to go back.
Sorry, I'm slow. So I got just a few things I'd like to see in the new calendar year at board meetings. So first is a request with the new board to review the superintendent.
Excuse me, sorry.
Bless you. To review the superintendent evaluation tool, potentially at a school board retreat. So we can, and I would also request that we have a outside facilitator, including the Arizona School Board Association and others that the district or any other board members would like to include in that retreat as a proposing different models for superintendent evaluation tools. Second, I'd like to see whether at a board meeting or a retreat, a deep dive into our alternative schools and alternative school models across the country, specifically as it relates to avoiding expulsions at all costs. And based on some of the student comments during public comment tonight, I'd like to see, I think as Stanford recommended, looking into what can we do to encourage higher academic standards across all of our schools, but at the same time, I would like to see that married with, because I think what I heard from some of the students was a need for, I guess my approach would be a deeper dive into, what have we done or what can we do more around restorative practices, because I heard there were some frustrations, and I think those two things for me go together is, how do we push higher standards across all of our schools, but also how do we really create buy-in for restorative practices. And then I will second the request early, hopefully in the new school year, to do a retreat or study session specifically looking at the Black focus groups, because that's something I've never seen as a board member in the 2 years that I've been on the board.
Okay, we get all those? Okay. Item 13C, motion to adjourn. Having concluded our business, is there a motion to adjourn and a second?
Back to 13C, the final meeting. Motion to adjourn the regular meeting.
Second?
A motion has been made by Ms. Pastor, seconded by Mr. Prescott. On the motion, those in favor, please indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, please indicate by saying nay. The motion carries.
Woohoo!
Have a good night, everybody. Happy holidays.